GM, we are live. Dirty Pete, GM, never been a poodle guy. Let's do it. Well, this is a Pitbull. This is the Pitbull. So make sure if you are hopping in this, you hop in the correct one. I figured try to do something different. I know there's a lot of poodle, a lot of poodle activity out there. The Pitbulls have been a little more difficult to fill, but I saw this one was closer to go time. So I figured I'd hop in and see if we can't get a morning Pitbull in. This is, of course, the $20 10 max, but it does have a pretty decent advanced structure. Let me see if I can pull that up. Yeah, $20 price point, definitely a little more expensive, closer to BBM. But, for my money, if you were trying to get it in good, and my bankroll, was $100. I just, wanted to put $20 every few days or so, I would probably put it in the Pitbull rather than BBM. So let's see. First, we get the top two advancing of round one. So like BBM, but then round two is a 6-person group and round three is a 5-person group. So, you get in the top two in your 12-person pod, and then you just got to win a 6-person and a 5-person to get to the final. The final is 156 players, and if you make the final, that's $500. So again, you're not going to get the $1 million glory of a BBM, but you're playing in a 156-person final for 100K up top, and it does have 10,000 to 10th, so you get that nice 10% of first structure. So I think the Pitbull is a terrific contest. So again, for my money, if I were playing less volume, I would prioritize this tournament. So, there's my Pitbull sales pitch. So we are now waiting for two. And X-Wall says it is his favorite breed. Well, yeah, I volunteer with our local SPCA and mostly take cats because I don't have a yard. So having a Pitbull in the house would not be good. But my God, they always have pit mixes. There are so many. If you need to adopt a dog, you have your choice of pit mixes at the Baltimore area SPCA. But they can get a bad rap, but I'm sure some of them are sweet. Let's see. Dog walking while I draft. Apologize if I auto sub. No worries, Dirty P. Appreciate you joining this draft. Trying to fill this Pitbull here. Let's see. And now down to waiting for two. Morning pit bulls are the best. I don't know if that's surely that will get somebody to join. In the meantime, I can pull up. I guess I have my my BBM exposures scrolling along the bottom. I've done a couple more, so I updated them since the last time. I think I'm up to 41 BBMs. I guess while we're waiting, I can pull up my exposures there past the 250 mark of drafts post contest. Let's see the exposure tab. If I go to $25 contests, we continue to see a lot of Scatabo, but I did not take him in the last couple. So this is down from 38 to 34. Again, I don't want to be too much over 30 for anybody, just because even if no matter how much I believe in them, injuries could torpedo everything. And I don't want that. But, Scatabo, Tootin, Taylor, Hampton, Chase Brown, Giddens, Pollard, these are all guys I'm happy to make stands on. I'm happy to be above market on. I think the one hole in all of this is I don't have any Derrick Henry, and I realize that, and I don't want to have zero Derrick Henry. I'm fine if I'm closer to 4 to 6%. I do not want Stone 0. That has not necessarily been the most intentional fade, but I like, I take a ton of, Drake London. I'm almost twice the field on him there. And so I just find myself taking receiver in that early second round more than running back. And I have a fair amount of McCaffrey, I believe. Yeah, 12% McCaffrey. So not that high. But anyway, Henry's been a little bit of a blind spot in my BBMs, and I would like to correct that, because that does feel like one of those players that can just bury you. And I'm not super high on Henry, but he is at worst the goal line back in Baltimore, and that's a role that's going to get touchdowns, and he's going to have spike weeks. Again, all this barring injury, but I'm not trying to predict injuries. And so he's just a guy I do not want to end up with 0 of. Tyler, howdy, GM. Thank you for coming by. I have capitulated to big hat. I'm wearing a hat this morning. This is mostly because I looked in the mirror and my hair situation was just nightmarish. So I'm not always going to stream with a hat. This is not, day one of realizing it's Jover for me in my mid to late 30s. But yeah, I notice a lot of I have streamer problems. Tyler, you don't have this problem. I will say that your hair is always well organized and on point. Mine, it does what it wants, and it's not good. It's never been good. It's just convenient. Yeah, thank you. Would you see? You probably don't even own hats. But let's see. All right, we're still at 12 of 13, or excuse me, 10 of 12 in this Pitbull, but I am confident that we will be able to get it filled. I'll go back to BBM exposures. What is this? Oh no, this is Pitbull. This is my Pitbull exposure. That's gonna be. I've only done 2 of these. All right, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just like jamming buttons here, and it's not cooperating with me. All right. The hair is a mess plenty. I love hiding my not perfect hair underneath the hat for streams. All right, good. Well, see, that's what I can tell everyone. I just don't want to, I don't want anyone to feel self-conscious when they see my glorious head of hair. And so I'm just, I'm a man of the people. I'll be modest with my with this situation. Let's see. We're probably still at. Oh no, we've lost 2 people. We're down to 8. Oh no. All right. I'm not gonna hop out of it just yet, but we might have to audible because I do want to draft today. I'm gonna join this Poodle and see what happens. Waiting for 6, waiting for 5. All right, I'm gonna hop out of that. I'm gonna hop out of that Pitbull. Dirty P. I am sorry. I'm gonna have to hop out of the Pitbull. Waiting for 4 in this. I think you will be able to get out of this in time. I don't think this one's going to snap fill on you. I'm sorry. But it's, I don't know. When it went from 10 to 8, I lost all hope. So now we've got a Pitbull in waiting for best ball and call. GM. Thank you so much for coming by. I saw you were on very early, but I was getting the kiddo ready for school and I couldn't join, but I saw you on there this morning. Best Ball on Call stream out there in the streaming streets as well. Appreciate your support here. James Young, GM, Rip Pitbull. Well, the Poodle has filled. And I'm afraid the Pitbull people are still there, much like my Baltimore area SPCA, desperately trying to get people to take Pitbulls. I was trying the same, and I now see their disappointment when it doesn't happen. FK Coolers is in this room. I don't know if he is in the channel, but if so, hello. Yesterday, I was in a stream draft with Who Hames, and FK Coolers kept taking everybody that I wanted, and that was that was not great. So hopefully, FK Coolers, if you are out there, do not take the players I like. Take your own players. You can have your. And I'm just kidding. I know. I know it was unintentional, and it just tells me I was going to take good players. If you are out there, FK Coolers, I'm here too. GM. So good to see you in here. Please do not take all my dudes again. B Grandy 17. Thank you for stopping by in at the 7-hole. Awesome. Good to see you here. Dirty P will stand in the Pitbull lobby and report if improves. Awesome. Yeah. We will do at least. We'll do at least another one. And if the Pitbull is close to filling, I will try to hop into that. But we're off. The rankings I have imported here are the Fanspeak Substack rankings from Steve Shope, one of the best guys out there and a real sharp guy. I literally imported these the second before I went live, so I don't actually I've never used them before. I mean, I used his ranks, but earlier in the cycle, so I don't know what he's updated. I think I think he updated them 3 or 4 days ago. So we will see. For me, mostly I use ranks late in the drafts to try to find some of the more late round players people like. That's more because my draft strategy earlier is to stick a little closer to ADP and try not to get huge player stands. Although in something like a Poodle, I'm willing to make it more like my teams rather than BBM, where I'm trying to be a little more value houndy and just build out a strong portfolio. So let's see. B. Grandy, he takes Neighbors at 6, a little ahead of ADP there. So he's getting his guys. FK Coolers takes Puka Nakua. CMC goes right ahead of me. I'm going to take Nico, which actually is in line with the Steve rankings. I like these already. I generally just prefer Nico to this range of Genti, Amon-Ra, and BTJ this season. Coming back around, I will take pretty much by ADP there. I don't see a need to make any kind of stand in this range. I wouldn't mind Derrick Henry again, trying to get that exposure on him up, but this is not a BBM, so I don't need to try to compare apples to oranges too much. But this spot picking at 15, I feel like after Drake London is a little bit of a tier break, just kind of a small break in my mind. And I guess the ADP kind of reflects that, right? Like these guys are all separated by 1, and then it goes up to 1.7. So it does seem like London is kind of a very small tier break. I mean, nothing crazy. There goes Bowers. There goes Henry. I will just take BTJ. I like Drake London slightly more if I had a really a truth serum take, but I think getting Collins and BTJ is a little more unique than Collins and London. Oh yeah. Well, hold on. GM Skeletor, thank you so much for coming by. Skeletor, the hero of the Matic Discord Dynasty League, helping get that set up, organizing the stuff there. Thank you so much, Skeletor, for stepping up and doing that, because I had not had to deal with that before, so I appreciate your help. And there, James Young says Neighbors is going to rise where he went in this draft by late August. Well, if his turf toe is past him and the quarterback play isn't complete dog water, I can see that. Skeletor, we can absolutely feed the ducks. Let me get those going. They actually help me keep my sanity. It's going to make the audio wonky for about 10 seconds. So it always starts bubbling it when you first turn it on. Feels like getting Derrick Henry anywhere after 13 is going to be the norm also. I don't know what people are going to do with Henry. I really don't. I mean, I think there's enough of a Derrick Henry fan base, and just you're rarely upset to click him, right? Like, I know us slappies like to fade him because it's like the cool, we all want to be right. Like, we all want to call it when Derrick Henry like sucks. But when you have him on your team, like if you flip the cards over and you're like, oh, I have Derrick Henry, you're never sad. You're never sad. If you're playing DFS and your lineup is doing well, and Derrick Henry's playing the late game and he's, 28% owned, you feel god awful. Because you just feel like, all right, this lead I have, this currently winning is just going to evaporate. So I don't know. I feel like Henry is one of those guys that I can't see him sliding too much past where he is, unless we get some kind of weird camp report or something happens. But even last year, I mean, he was barely above 50% of snaps in a lot of games and was still getting there. Like, he's, that offense just runs so much. And again, I think around the goal line, they're much happier to hand it to Henry than, try to plow Lamar, across the line. It's just like the literal opposite of the Eagles, in my, what it seems like. So we've got Nico, BTJ. This is a range I'm never super thrilled with. I don't think I want to make this an elite QB team. I'm probably just take Mike Evans. Breece Hall is a little bit tempting, but he sometimes falls. So let's take Mike Evans here and see what comes around. If I want an elite quarterback, I can probably still get one. It's pretty unlikely that all of Allen, Lamar, and Daniels will go. And I think there's an argument that Lamar and Lamar and Daniels could certainly be ranked ahead of Allen. So if that's how it shakes out, like, yeah, this person, your favorite DGen, he takes Lamar, so he gets the Lamar Henry team. Let's see what W Crisp here does. Takes Tet McMillan. I think if Breece Hall falls, that's who the pick is going to be. If Breece Hall goes, this might just be a Josh Allen team. I don't really want to like have a huge fade on the elite quarterbacks. And if I don't take him 5 picks past ADP, like when am I going to take him? So, all right. We start with Nico, BTJ, Evans, and Allen. So, we're going to have to catch up at running back later. FK Coolers, our friend here, also a piss boy. He's got Puka, London, JSN, and I'm going to guess he's going to capitulate and take James Cook, but let's see. He might really stick to his piss boy roots. All right, he does take James Cook. And let's see what B. Grandy, he is about to come up. He's got Neighbors, JT, and McLaurin. So sorry, B. Grandy, you did not get the Jaden Daniels fall. I thought that might happen, but D. Will snaps off Daniels there. Let's see what the backup plan is. Travis Hunter. All right. Travis Hunter. He's been sliding a little bit lately, but unlikely to slide all the way to 54. So if he's your receiver du jour, that makes sense. Funny you say that. My least favorite range to FK Coolers. I think we just draft very similarly. That's what I learned yesterday. So it does not surprise me. But yeah, that range of Kyron, Breece, and then the elite quarterbacks and like DJ Moore and Evans, it just feels like, I really hope that like when I'm there, I get like a falling JSN or like a miracle falling Chase Brown or something like that. Like I feel like you either got to reach into this next range of receivers who I do like, this JMO, Sutton, Pickensy, Hunter kind of range, or you like are kind of settling. It's just very uncomfortable part of the board. At least that's how I tend to feel. Henry in the top 3% of plays that result in touches among RBs. Henry might play barely 55% of the snaps, but when he's on the field, he's getting the ball. That makes a ton of sense, James Young. I certainly felt that way. Like you'd look at the logs after, and he'd have 58% of the snaps, and he'd have like 28 carries. Like, good God, like he's just a volume monster on not being out there every time. But I think they're utilizing him very, very intelligently. So that makes sense. Pity fired. We drew the 3 and drafted JJ. I'm drafting his team for you, Chad, in memory of the lobby that could have been Dirty P. Oh no. Well, now I have FOMO. I could have been in a fun Pitbull. Instead, I'm in a fun Poodle. So I think it worked. This is the multiverse theory. In another multiverse, I am in that Pitbull along with everybody. But alas, here we are in the Poodle. Let's see what B. Grandy does. B. Grandy on the clock. I'm going to pull the board up just so I can see what's starting to come with a 20-second clock. All right, so we have Allen. I was thinking for a second we had Lamar and was going to start hoping for a Flowers fall, but that doesn't help us. B. Grandy takes Kamara. There goes Flowers. If I sort by ADP, the pick is likely to be one of these backs. If I sort by the ranks, it is again also likely to be one of the backs. There goes Waddle. I agree. My preference here would be Mixon. I think a Mixon Nico start is kind of fun, going big on the Texans. Thinking about what's going to wrap around, if I get a fall in one of these running backs, maybe we do tend to see Harvey has been a little bit of a faller, so I wouldn't be stunned to see him at 63. I would definitely take him there. Ken Walker's injury stuff, I haven't heard anything new, so I don't really know what to make of that. And then as far as receivers, I think for me the pick would be Juwan Jennings, especially with Ayuk getting some bearish injury news that I believe it was the MCL was also damaged. So the timeline is looking grim, and between us, I don't see Ayuk as like the rehab warrior. He doesn't strike me as that guy. And maybe that's incredibly unfair. But I don't know. It just seems like it's getting worse. It seems like the Niners regretted that contract with him like instantly. And since then it just hasn't been great. We do get RJ Harvey. I'm happy to get him over here as my second running back. So the team so far is as a 1-2-3-0. Josh Allen, Joe Mixon, RJ Harvey, with Nico Collins, BTJ, and Mike Evans at receiver. So not too disappointed with the team so far. FK Coolers, he adds Travion Henderson to the team. I guess you could argue that maybe Henderson would have made more sense than Harvey on this team as a Week 17 Josh Allen bring back, but I think there's a big enough gap between Harvey and Henderson to where that I think that's getting a little too best ball cute. B. Grandy takes Chris Olave. I love the Chris Olave pick. You know, he could look like a massive steal if he's healthy and the quarterback play isn't bad, and he pairs him with Kamara. So making a little bet on the Saints. All right. So, oh my God, what? So Sam Yori, he goes Hurts Burrow, gets a nice little thing there. So he took the Hurts Devontae build here, and then he also gets his Higgins Burrow stack, denying that to Renaissance. And I actually did this from the one hole in a Poodle, except I took Hurts Devontae, and then Burrow, the two hole passed on Burrow, tried to push him around, and I just took him, and I made a Hurts Burrow team. I actually kind of liked how it came out. I think that's going to be somewhat unique. I don't think most people are going to have both of them. It's a lot of draft capital and quarterback, so it could be bad. But, you know, getting a Hurts Devontae and a Burrow, you know, Higgins or Burrow Chase stack, you know, it could work. I'm not saying to do it every time, but I see the vision. I see the vision there. B. Grandy takes Tony Pollard, like the pick there. Let's see what FK Coolers does. I'm guessing he's just going to take Jaden Reed. That's my prediction. He takes Pacheco. All right. Let's see for me. Interesting choice here. Aaron Jones is kind of the last of this range of running back that makes a ton of sense. I like Jaden Reed. I don't have a lot of him, and this is a little bit of a fall. I think I'm going to take Aaron Jones here because I like all of these receivers, and I could potentially take Hawkinson and create a little bet on the Vikings there, open up another potential quarterback, a second quarterback to go with Allen. Let's see what happens though. If Reed is there, 10 picks past ADP, that might be too much to pass on. Let's see. All right, there goes Reed. Let's see. Besides, Henry averaged 70% snap share in the final 3 weeks of the season. His snap counts are not an issue. Yep. Yeah, no, I need more Henry. I need more Henry. Not sure if you're aware, but you have last year's 19th place Pitbull drafter. Well, congratulations on the 19th place Pitbull. That's awesome. That's certainly better than I did in any of the bigger contests there. I just took Hawkinson. I like him this season. It gives me a little flexibility at tight end, and now I have a bet on the Vikings, which is an offense that I want some parts on. And Mooney, I really like Mooney, but Mooney went right before me, so that probably would have been my pick. FK Coolers, huge value on Mahomes. Taking Pacheco there was smart because that did set you up at least to where you're live to have that stack, and there's a few later options you can get with KC. I think you're live to take Kelsey or Brown or Royals or whomever you want late, but I like the value you got there. B. Grandy takes B-Rob. B-Rob I think he's also kind of the last of a tier in ADP. I'm not big on B-Rob this year, to be fully honest with you, but if you're going to take him, you got some ADP value on that. James Young, I removed Ayuk and Deontay Johnson from my personal rankings total yesterday. Yeah, oh my gosh, that Deontay Johnson quote was so bad that he was just like, No, I'm good. I'm not coming in. Like, I don't want to look bad. Colt. Well, you can warm up on the sideline. Like, you don't have to just sit there. There's stationary bikes. There's ways to keep active, and you chose not to do that. Was a coin flip Reed versus Pacheco there. Yeah, I've been taking more Pacheco, with it seeming like he's healthy and yeah. I took a ton of him last year and it burned me, but I think if he didn't get injured, he was going to have been a pretty good pick. It's like I was pretty heavy on him, and of course every running back stayed healthy, like except for him and CMC, and I never passed once on CMC, and I was overweight on Pacheco. So for a year that running backs never got hurt, I did manage to spike the two that did. I was hoping to get Mooney for Puka Mooney week 17, but not to be. Always plan B. You always got to have a plan B. 100% FK Coors, and that's a game that I do love, and I have a lot of Falcons this year. Penix is one of my higher exposed quarterbacks. I'm definitely in on the Falcons. All right, coming back around. Got to stop at McDonald's this morning. Got McDonald's coffee. All right. No bagel today, but we'll see. We'll see if we can get one of those going this week. Another double quarterback tap with Fields and Nix going there. Let's see. This is not the Garrett Wilson guy. The Garrett Wilson guy passed on Fields to take Kyler. And then Bo Nix paired with Sutton over there. So starting to see a little bit of a run on quarterbacks. 99 is very early for Dak. I know he's been rising, but I guess he was worried about getting him past the Lamb drafter. For us, Baker. This is a nice Baker fall. I don't really need another quarterback here with Allen, but I don't think I could pass on Baker if D Will doesn't time out and take him. No, I'm just gonna take Baker. This lets me shut it down at two quarterbacks with Allen and Baker. Again, 15 picks of ADP value on Baker when he's stacked with Evans is tough to pass. Now, maybe I could have waited because I do have this big Houston thing going and taken Stroud, but I think that's just getting a little, kind of ignoring a pretty nice gift there. Bateman goes. I'm going to take Rashid Shaheed. He's been getting some good news out of camp. Looks fast. Seems like he's healthy again. I need a receiver there, and again, it starts to go off of a cliff pretty quickly. I do like these running backs. Scatabo and Sharps would have been fine to take one of those if I had to, but again, I only have 3 receivers through 9 rounds. I really do need to add somebody else because they're going to be doing a lot of heavy lifting the way this team is constructed. FK Coors, he takes Drake May. I think it's not a stack, but you know what? People love Drake May, so you're excused. If you might also get Kyle Williams. He sometimes wraps around. All right, B. Grandy takes Tyler Warren. Nice pick there. Gets a tight end with quite a bit of upside. And we continue. Let's see, FK Coolers. Oh, no, you have Travion Henderson. You had Travion Henderson. I thought there was something there. I just missed that. So I like the Dre May pick. Yeah, I have Henderson for a sort of stack plus late options. Makes sense. I know, again, the leg up guys are eternally high on Drake May. And so, again, I never am sad about taking them because I know somewhere Pat Kerrane is like looking down on me smiling. I don't know why he's like some kind of heavenly figure, but I just envision him, giving the nod of approval whenever we take Drake May, whether he's stacked or not. There goes Scatabo at 119. I would have been thrilled if I was on the left side of the board to take Scatabo there. I am pretty heavily invested in the guy. Al Boogie GM, thank you so much for stopping by this morning. For those curious, this is a 20-second Poodle We tried to get in a Pitbull. It started filling. It got to within 2. It failed miserably. And now Skeletor is in there holding it down, reporting live from the Pitbull lobby. So we are, we're in that draft in spirit, if not with our bankroll this year. Let's see a few options coming up, mostly at tight end and running back. Let's see what comes around to us. Personally, Javonte is truly a cross-off. Let's see how Steve has the rank. So Steve really has a big clump of tight ends ranked here. He's got them ranked Goddard, Loveland, Kincaid, and Njoku. I hate to IKB Steve, but I think Njoku's my favorite of these tight ends. But being there's is a lot of tight ends. Now I'm just gonna take my guy Njoku here because I think I like Tootin quite a bit. I think he is definitely like a kind of home run hitter guy you love in best ball, but this team, it might make more sense to take Ray Davis. So I'm gonna take Njoku there and then hope Ray Davis comes around. If not, I could do something that I've never done before, which is take J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey and hope that I'm locking up most of the touches in Denver. Feels like that's a little cute. And then maybe I should have just taken Dalton Kincaid because I have Josh Allen. So did I completely botch this? I don't know. I might have, but I'm going to just take Ray Davis because I don't need to go triple tight end before pick 150. That seems bad. But I am very high on Njoku this season, more so than Kincaid. Again, even at the cost of the Josh Allen stack there. Again, that was a little bit of a misstep for me, but I think I got focused on taking Ray Davis there and did not make the connection that I could have created a nice stack. FK Cooler, 20 max is tough too. Sometimes need to force exposure a little more. Yeah, I guess I don't worry about it. And in my mind, like these 20 max contests, there's going to be a lot of 20 max contests. So I almost see them as like a portfolio of portfolios. I don't know. That might be bad, but there's just so much luck with individual teams, like getting through what the next rounds end up being, that I worry a little less about the portfolio and just kind of want each individual team to be how I want them when it comes to these smaller contests. And maybe that's bad. Maybe that's not the right way to look at it, but I don't know. And X-Wall is also enjoying himself in the Pitbull. I have never had more FOMO about missing a draft than that Pitbull that we did not fire. Dirty Pete just got the old run down the clock in your face snipe. Feels bad. Yeah, that's like in poker, right? That's like the guy time banking and they're like sitting there with like the full house of the gods, and you're there like they're time banking, so you're like, oh man, I got this, and then they just crush you, and you're like, why did you just not snap call? Like, you're just a jerk. It's the best ball version of that happening here. All right, let's see what we get up to here. We've got 2-4-4-2. I think I would probably be in the market for another receiver in this range, being that we only have Collins, BTJ, Evans, and Shaheed. My preference would probably be Tillman, because if I'm going to say that Cleveland is shockingly good at throwing the football, maybe him and Njoku make sense, but of course he vanishes from my queue. So I'll just take Xavier Legette. I see Jalen McMillan down there, and I know I have Baker, so I did not just ignore that. But I'm worried that Jalen McMillan just kind of like lost his job and is going to zero. I don't know. I have trouble drafting him even in Baker stacks, and maybe that's wrong, but I don't know. Just the latest word has just not been good there. They're even talking about Tez Johnson over there, and new regimes don't always like the old regime's draft picks. I have some serious serious concerns there. I'm going to take Tank Bigsby again. We've got BTJ, so continuing out on building out some of these team bets there. So the team is now a 2-5-5-2 with Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, Joe Mixon, RJ Harvey, Aaron Jones, Ray Davis, Tank Bigsby. Wide receiver room of Nico Collins, BTJ, Mike Evans, Rashid Shaheed, and Xavier Legette, and tight ends of TJ Hawkinson and David Njoku. Let's see what our friends are doing. FK Coolers, since adding Patrick Mahomes, he did get Travis Kelce. That makes sense. I missed that pick before Drake May. Hollywood Brown, so continues the KC bet, so he did get there. J.K. Dobbins, nice bring back to KC. And then Rashad White and Pat Bryant, another bring back FK Coolers. I very much like what you're doing there. Let's see what B. Grandy does. He takes Jack Betch, Josh Palmer, and Brenton Strange, all players that I like individually. Gino did go, so you won't be able to get Betch there, unfortunately. I don't know if you were hoping for that, but W. Crisp said, I must have 3 quarterbacks, and so he takes him. But I think he might have been the Bowers guy. He was the Bowers guy, so we can forgive him there. Palmer, certainly a guy that I would have been interested had he fallen to me, and Brenton Strange, one of my biggest exposed tight ends. So I really do like that pick from you there. All right, I guess I'll leave the draft board up so people can see what is going on. All right. James Young says the McMillan worry is unfounded. All right, James, I am willing to hear the case, but I mean, they added Igbuka, they added Tez Johnson. If Godwin and Evans are healthy, when Godwin and Evans were healthy, McMillan wasn't doing a whole heck of a lot. Cade Otton's still going to be involved. I don't know, man. I am worried. Yeah, the slow roll. That before was the best ball slow roll. Mike Rob, thank you so much for coming by. First of all, do you like to draft certain stacks together where it's for week 15 to 17 correlation, or bye weeks, or just a combo of those teams? So Mike, let me just get my ducks in a row here. I think Cade Otton would probably be my pick, because I wouldn't mind getting one more player, and I'm hoping FK Coolers, if he wants a tight end, takes Hunter Henry for his stack and not my guy. But yeah, he takes. Thank you, FK Coolers, for drafting rationally. I think I've come around to the idea that when it comes to week 17, sometimes we can overdo it, and we can end up like pairing players together more than they should, who are otherwise completely uncorrelated for the other 16 weeks. So my preference is to just build team stacks, and I'll do the week 17 correlations, but not at the cost of maybe another team stack or team bet on building, right? Because it's so hard to get the week 17 stuff right. Like even if you're told that Kansas City and Denver shoots out, you still have to get the right pieces from that game. And so it does seem like sometimes we can get led astray. So I'm just making my selection here, and I'm going to take another guy I have way too much of in Diami Brown. So I guess to answer your question, I just prefer to build big team stacks and then let things fall, kind of the chips fall as they may. And if I can get some week 17 stuff, that's fine. But again, I'm focused more on trying to get in on offenses than specific games, because I also think that's just going to help you. If you build out a big team stack and that team is good, then the team is going to be a juggernaut, whether or not you have like other ancillary pieces paired up for the playoff weeks. At least best ball call, at least at this hour, there's a chance for overflow. So that's that. Yeah, there's trying to fill these rooms, but hopefully as the day goes on, we will get more wake up chats. Bindles, thank you so much for coming by this morning. And Xwall, incorrect on Tampa Bay. So people hate the McMillan worry. They say stop worrying and learn to love Jalen McMillan. All right. I mean, I know we called him McMillions last year, and I feel like if they didn't call him McMillions, I would have had about half as much as I did, but I had a lot. If you think a guy who scored 8 TDs last year is a zero because of coach speak or beat writer, you're overreacting, which is super common this time of year. That's fair. That's fair. I do think we overreact in June, and it's easy for me to accuse other people of overreacting and ignoring my own overreaction. So maybe I should adjust my priors. Maybe I should not be completely out on him. I'm sorry, I don't know why that comment keeps popping back up. I had to convince a guy to stop drafting one QB eliminator laters because he was poor. Yeah. I mean, you might as well just like donate your money to charity if you're going to do something like that, because that seems terrible. I agree. Evans and Godwin are not full-time players. I don't know if I agree with that. I think if they're healthy, they're definitely going to be. I just have trouble like projecting injury out there. And again, Igbukah getting drafted to me makes that very crowded. Like very crowded, like taking the wide receiver for, I don't know, that just makes me pretty uneasy. All right, let's see. Thinking what we want to do here. Let's see. By ADP, Steve has Keenan Allen. By rank, Steve has Keenan Allen. By ADP, it's Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen goes. Steve has Marshawn Lloyd. I think I actually agree with that. I'm going to take Marshawn Lloyd here, and then we will add one more wide receiver to the crew. And I think I know who that's going to be in the ideal world. We will try to get Elijah Moore to finally get some form of pass catcher stacked with Josh Allen. If he gets sniped, the backup plan will just be A.D. Mitchell, who I do like this year, and it seems like he's been doing some better things in camp. So this team will be a 2-6-7-3 build with Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield at quarterback, running back room of Joe Mixon, RJ Harvey, Aaron Jones, Ray Davis, Tank Bigsby, and Marshawn Lloyd. A wide receiver room of Nico Collins, BTJ, Mike Evans, Rashid Shaheed, Xavier Legette, Diami Brown, and Elijah Moore, and a tight end room of TJ Hawkinson, David Njoku, and Cade Otton. So I like how this team came out. Let's see, FK Coolers, he takes MVS. MVS is a guy I am pretty in on as well. And so getting that late Darnold MVS stack, I like that quite a bit. Mason Taylor, another guy I am high on. Let's see what B. Gandy does. So he ends up, so he had T-Law as his only quarterback and then takes Tyler Show and Russell Wilson later. I like the Tyler Show pairing with, I believe you were the Chris Olave drafter, so that makes a lot of sense. Russell Wilson, at least hopefully get you through some early weeks there. You took Neighbors, I believe, with your first pick. Yes, so that makes sense. And who knows, maybe Russ holds the job longer than we're expecting, but at the very least might bridge you to when Show takes over, or Show just starts week one. Interesting team there. I like, I like what you did. You did not use draft capital on quarterback until late. So there's something to be said for that. So again, B. Gandy, like the squad you built. All right, I'm going to fire up something else, but first let me catch up on the chat. Let's uncrowd that wide receiver for you. Week 7 mentally, how many games do you expect Evans and Godwin's to play this year? 17. Yeah, again, I just have a really hard time just saying they're not going to be there. I mean, Evans was there week 17, and Godwin had like a fluky injury. Like, he had one of those weird contact injuries. It wasn't some muscle thing that kept him out. It wasn't a fitness issue. It's a violent sport, and players get injured. So I just, again, I have a hard, if he's out, but running that thought exercise, if one of them is still there, then you still have Igbukah stepping up, and now you have him as the wide receiver 3, which again is not the greatest role. Like you said, maybe not a 0, and I shouldn't project him as a 0, but he's not going to be as productive as he was last year, I think, unless there's like 2 injuries. I don't know. I just feel like it's an overpay. I feel like it's a little bit of an overpay. Let's see how a 20-second Pitbull looks. Let's see what waiting for 11. We're not going to do a 20-second Pitbull. Let's see what BBM's doing. Let's see what a 30-second BBM looks like this morning. Let's see. Waiting for 11. They have absolutely crushed some of these. Okay, so 30-second BBM is out. I guess we can look at Poodle. I guess we can try to run another Poodle. You know what I really want to do? I really want to do a sprint, but this is not going to be anywhere near full. Let's see what this is at. Waiting for 10. This is tough. Some of these, the liquidity on here has been pretty light. All right, here comes a Poodle. 20-second Poodle. I'm hopping in now. This will fill, I am sure. Waiting for 1. So if you want to get in, we are in. There it goes. So again, I wish I could have given more notice, but it was just waiting for 1. So hopefully B Grandy, you got in. Nice. I apologize. We couldn't get more of you all in. Again, that was not intentional, as you saw. I just was looking for something that we could fill together. And the last thing I want to do is say I'm hopping in a draft and then somebody makes it fire and they're in the underflow. Mike Robb, 3-putt Thursdays is where the people are at. Mike Robb, thank you again so much for coming in. I do a lot of golf DFS and betting, and that is one of the things I enjoy, but it doesn't make for good streaming, tinkering with lineups for hours. But I do love DFS golf, despite the fact that it does not love me back. We'll see what happens this year at the Rocket Classic. They have renamed the tournament. They've taken mortgage out, and it is just the Rocket Classic. So let's see. We've got B Grandy in at the 3-hole, and again, I don't recognize any of these other names in here. Programming note: I don't think anyone's going live at 10. Ship Chasing, they're on back again on Thursday. I don't think I saw Peter Davis slated to go live at 10. So in the ideal world, we'll do another draft after this because I won't hop. But again, if that's not the case, someone let me know so that I don't end up running into that. B Gandhi takes Bijan at 3. I love Bijan. He's I think Steve does too. I think Steve has Bijan ranked ahead of Saquon. Okay, you can't see the ranks once they're drafted, but I think that's how he has them ranked. And I think my truth serum take would be that as well. Even if I'm not drafting them that way, it's again more of an exposure question. Let's see. Need a helmet to hang out on stream the way you rug pull. Well, you know what, Ant X, well, I did. I have a come from a little bit of a crypto background, so rug pulls are just in the blood here. No, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to rug pull. I just, I'm trying to be transparent. I'm trying to tell you what I'm hopping in, and if it's gonna fill, I'll say stick around. Otherwise, it's a risky game. I love CMC here. If not, I'm going to take Neighbors. I don't think that's anything too groundbreaking. Don't do much crypto anymore, by the way. But that was a time and a place. All right, here we go. Let's take Malik Neighbors here. So we get Neighbors. Talked about him last draft. B Grandy got him in the 6-hole. Yeah, love me some Neighbors. I was taking him ahead of that BTJ Amon-Ra range in the big board because that's, again, I use the big board as a little more player takey. There's so many random variables there that to me that's kind of a contest to have a little more fun with and not get too hung up on being a 8% bro. So I have a nice position on Neighbors there. I'm really in on him. There goes Derrick Henry. So Steve loves Jonathan Taylor, has him ranked quite high. I do like Jonathan Taylor, but I'm going to take Drake London because, again, I said this before, but I do think Drake London is in this tier of receiver before it drops slightly. Spike Week goes live in 40 from what I see, but I don't know your overlap with them. No, I mean, I like those guys, but Davis lets me post in the Discord when I'm going live, and I'm pretty active in there, so I don't really want to go, stream while he's streaming, and Pete lets us post in his self-promotion channel. So just, I know I'm not taking viewers from either of them, but just as a matter of principle, I don't think it's, I just don't want to try to stream at the same time as them. So I'm less worried. But yeah, Spike Week is great. So I certainly understand that probably is going to take away some viewers, but that is okay. I'm hoping it's Ben Griffin Week as far as golf goes. He was my first click into DFS once I started doing a little research. I am stacking PM AM right now because it looks like Friday afternoon might get a little windy. If that evens out, I might just rebuild. But right now, Griffin is one of the better players that goes off in the afternoon on Thursday and the morning on Friday, whereas Cantlay, Morikawa, and Bradley all go off in the morning, meaning they're going to be on the potentially worse weather of it. It might not be bad enough to matter, so we'll see if I end up actually sticking to that PM AM thesis. Grandy, I'm under exposure on Bijan. Have to take him more than it can. Makes sense. Is the candles in your name from crypto like trading chart candles? That's exactly it. A Chad candle would be a fat, candle. So ideally green. You don't want a big red candle, a big green candle. So yeah, that's where the name comes up. Man of good character, great thing to. Thanks, Ma. No, I mean, it's a courtesy. I mean, those guys are very supportive of fledgling streamers like myself. So if I can, in a small way, live up to that, I'd like to. So let's see. B Grandy, he takes Devontae Adams and Chase Brown. So pulling Devontae up into the early second and takes Chase Brown. Love all of those players. You're not going to get a lot of Bijan Devontae teams if Devontae goes over here. So again, I certainly respect the move. I don't know if it's done quite enough because, if you project Devontae in that same range as this Wilson, Higgins, Hill, then why not? Because you'll get some different player combos. And so I certainly see the vision here. We're back in that range I discussed, and FK Coolers agreed that we don't like. Like if I don't get JSN, I'm just kind of making a face and taking somebody here. All right, we get JSN. I'm actually pretty happy to get JSN. I know it's only 3 picks of ADP value, but I think there's a pretty big gap between JSN and this next group of receivers, and then after that, you're basically into like elite quarterback, which completely changes how you build. So gonna end up with a different team than last. Of course, we could end up in a position with like a Josh Allen fall, and we could we're definitely in line if we want to make this an elite QB team. We could do that again. Don't know that I will, but let's see what comes to us. It's a little hard for me to take James Cook ahead of like Lamar or Daniels, because I think you can get James Cookie and kind of running backs later in the draft. Let's see. DJ Moore goes. Interesting choice here. I'm gonna take my guy and then hope that we can catch up at other positions. I love Jameson Williams, super high on him. We're going to go Piss Boy this time instead of Elite QB. I think there's definitely something to be said for the Elite QB builds, but let's see how we do here. I really am high on Jameson Williams this season. He's a little bit, if you're getting really gal-brained, when you take him here, you're kind of opposite the Amon-Ra player. So it's like leverage on taking Amon-Ra at 10. I think he's going to just become more and more involved. He was really starting to break out late in the year. And if we're talking good coach speak, he got an absolute ton of that so far. So Lamar and Daniels go. So Fast Willie, I'm sorry again, B Grandy, last time you were lined up to get the Daniels McLaurin stack. It didn't happen, but Fast Willie in this draft does. get it. Chad Kindles posted that pity team in the Matic Discord. You're tagged. All right, I have Dirty P. I will check that out after I hop off. I have a lot of FOMO. Most FOMO I've had for a draft. I did not. AJX Bearcat, have you started building PGA lineups yet? Yes, I have. And again, I have been really trying to just stack PM AM, which eliminates half the field. It also eliminates a few of the guys I like in the 6K to 7K range, which is unfortunate. And if you want to build with Morikawa, Bradley, or Cantlay, then they're out. I find sometimes if you do those wave stacks, if you do a 5-1 with the 1 being an elite player, just assuming they can overcome it, you can end up building a little differently. I don't mind doing that. Haven't fully settled on how I want to build yet. Morikawa and Cantlay have both finished second in this event, so they certainly have shown that they can just dominate this course. It's there's a lot of, I actually find it a very interesting tournament, how you want to build this week. And yeah, again, we'll see if I really stick to that weather angle or not. Your favorite DGen, he gets the Devontae Hurts stack, which is pretty nice from the 4 hole. Fast Willie, where did Be Gritty? There you go. So he gets Sutton and Hubbard. I like that. I like taking Hubbard there in the 5th. You're telling yourself your flex is going to be a running back, which I think, is becoming more of a popular way to build maybe than it was last year. Obviously, I am right now with a piss boy start and not doing that. But we'll see how this ends up. Of course, a cavalcade of running backs come. That's kind of nice. Steve has Kamara ranked slightly ahead of Walker, but I do have JSN, so I'm going to take Walker there, build a Seattle bet. Maybe this opens us up to a later Sam Darnold, which I'm certainly in on. There's good backstacking options with Darnold, whether that's MVS or Horton or Arroyo. So I've come around to Darnold because he's just easy to tag guys onto late, and I think some of the fear that Milroe was going to come and take his job have been pretty well alleviated. Certainly in the market for another running back here. I know we took RJ Harvey last time, but I see no reason to not do that again. Connor, week 8 bye. I'm getting heavy in week 8 buys. I'm not a bye week bro, but even I have my limits. So I'm just going to take RJ Harvey here. My thoughts on the Harvey fall are that this is where he should have been going all along. Like, he was never going to dominate the backfield, and now I just think Dobbins is going to consolidate the Estime, McLaughlin, Beatty role into one. So now just instead of it being a kind of 3-headed backfield, it's a 2-headed backfield, and Harvey's role is going to be Harvey's role. That's how I see it. I don't see Dobbins as changing it for Harvey. I just think it clarified it to us best ball slappies. That's what I think. But Harvey's fallen quite a bit, and so I like the new price a lot. Is this the shipper? Lay the house RM. Thank you so much for coming by. I sure hope so, because if I could add Poodle Champion to my Twitter banner, I'm sure that would push me deep into the 1,000 follower category. I hope this is the shipper. I hope this is it. Let me pull up real quick so this is 40K up top. Again, nice 10th place is 10% of that, which is what you like to see. What's the advanced structure? Let's see. Oh, you know what? I realized that it doesn't actually. All right, you know what? Forget it. All right, because I realize you can't see what I'm looking at. Round 1, top 2, and then round 2 is first place out of 6, and then first place out of 5th with a 310-person final. So you just got to win get top 2 in the first one, and then win a 6-person pod and a 5-person pod. And the finals, it's $300 to anyone who makes the final. So not bad at all. Not bad at all for this 20 max $7 contest. Again, I think the Pitbull is really nice. The Pitbull advanced structure, the Pitbull payout structure is really strong. again, if you were to play either BBM or the Pitbull with a single entry or 5 entries, I would absolutely recommend the Pitbull. I just think you're so much likelier to have a 5-6 figure cash than you are in a BBM. You're not going to win $2 million in a Pitbull, but that's a tough ask in BBM, and it's just, to me, it's a much better use of bankroll if you're trying to limit what your spend is this season. All right, let's see. We'll pull the board back up. B. Grandy, he takes Darnell. Oops, what am I doing? He picks Darnell Mooney there. That makes sense with Bijan. Mooney is not going to be there at 94, so I like that. No quarterbacks or tight ends yet for B. Grandy. Adds Caleb Johnson, so he's got 4 running backs through 6, and then adds Mooney after that. For us, 4 wide receivers, and then we took 2. And then let's see, at 82 and 87, let's pull up what is coming to us. More receivers are possible. Again, I find myself taking a lot of Hawkinson because he's kind of like a bailout when you don't really need a running back or receiver. He feels like a pretty good addition to a team. Steve has Pacheco ranked significantly below Aaron Jones, which I think is interesting. I don't know if I agree with that. I actually like Pacheco, and I like Pacheco as a third running back. Again, not doing this because of taking a Bronco there, but it does, again, just like FK Coolers did, it opens me up to take Mahomes there. Yes, I am looking over at your homework, FK Coolers, and doing what you just did potentially, but we'll see. We'll see if Mahomes comes around. If not, I'm not too fussed. I have some good options. If I really wanted to go heavy on Seattle, I could take Cooper Kupp and make a Giga Seahawks stack. That might be a little aggressive, but if Mahomes and Hawkinson go, then I probably would do that. Okay, so Cooper Kupp, he goes. And let's see if Magic Eagle can resist the temptation of Mahomes at 2 picks past ADP. It is tempting. Winding the clock. Magic Eagle takes TJ Hawkinson. All right, so I'm gonna take Mahomes here. I don't end up with as much Mahomes as I'd like, but let's try that. And if this goes wrong, I can blame FK Cooler. So this is great. This is perfect. All right. Lay the House wants it too much. I think I'm going to do one more after this, and I'll probably fire up a BBM. So we'll see. If you stick around, then you can watch us ship 2 million on stream. I like Pacheco as well. He's still young, and on last year's contract, they may run him a lot. Yeah. I mean, us slappies love Brashard Smith, but he's a pretty late round pick. I don't think he's I don't think they see him as taking the Pacheco role. If he takes the McKinnon role, that's fine. Pacheco was able to eat when McKinnon had a big season. So I'm not worried about that. And again, if Pacheco cannot beat Kareem Hunt, then it's already over. And I'm not too worried about Eli Mitchell. He missed all of last season. I don't know. Davis was saying that he thinks it's going to be one of Hunt or Mitchell make the team. I would certainly defer to him on that, but that does intuitively make a certain amount of sense as far as how that running back room is going to shake up. Isaiah Pacheco, yeah, he looked god awful at the end of last season, but he was, rushed back from injury, and I think we give him a pass there. If he's has all of off season to get healthy and looks good, then. And as they were discussing yesterday, if we don't really hear anything about the other running backs, then it's probably just going to be Pacheco again, unless we start getting some really good word about one of the other guys on that roster. All right, let's see. I don't know if I'm going to be so lucky to get Travis Kelce here, but I'm going to optimistically queue him up. I'll pull the whoops. Oh God. I'll pull the board up. Let's see what B. Grandy did. So after adding Mooney, he gets Bo Nix. He stacks him with Sutton, and he gets Evan Ingram stacking with Nix. cannot argue with what you're putting together there, Mr. B. Grandy. All right. Trey Harris goes. So some of these, the last of that tier of receiver goes. Dirty pieces. Hunt was surprisingly effective in short yardage. Hunt keeping the goal line role would make Pacheco empty calories at RB. I certainly hope not. I certainly hope it's not just the between the 20s guy, because like you said, that role really stinks. But that could be what happens. That could end up being what happens. Let's see what MN Bass does. So I'm literally FK Coors. I'm just building your team. I'm just building your team from last time. I'm taking Travis Kelce, and I'll probably try to take Hollywood Brown, not this pick, but next pick if he's there. So, don't tell anyone that don't tell the teacher I'm copying your homework here. Let's see what position could we use. I would say at this point, either a receiver or a running back. I took Shaheed last time. I do like the pick. I like Najee Harris more than the Slappy community might. Charbonnet, I think that's getting too cute, handcuffing the Seattle running backs. I think I'm going to take Najee Harris here, and then this will enable me to feel better about making this a 5 running back team. I think Najee Harris is going to see more touches than we want, as much as we all love Hampton. There's a world where Harris is the goal line back. I think early in the season, it's possible, if not likely, that Harris is going to outtouch Hampton, just the way that the NFL, has such a sort of affinity for veterans and incumbency. I guess Harris is not an incumbent, but anyway, yes, could Harris get completely dusted by Hampton? Absolutely. But I don't think Harris is nothing. And I think that's going to be a team that wants to run the ball a lot. And that could be a better role than some of us are thinking. Obviously, Shaheed would have been a nice pick there as well. So, most of the time I'm taking Charbonnet ahead of Harris, but, varying things a little bit. All right, let's pull the board back up. Let's see what B. Gandy does here. He takes Luther Burden. Makes sense there. Again, wide receiver gets very thin. There's almost no wide receivers in this, the 11th and 12th round. It gets extremely thin there. You're looking at your Christian Kirks and Hollywood Browns, and then after that, it just turns into the choose your own adventures, which is why I think a lot of people like taking QB in that range for lack of what else to do. Interesting here that Goff went to this Magic Eagle guy. He's the Amon-Ra Brown, the Amon-Ra guy. Okay, so that does make sense. And yeah, I did not want to pass Travis Kelce, even if Goff would have given me a stack. I do not think that would have been worth the risk there, especially with Ollie Jones having no tight ends himself. There goes the aforementioned Christian Kirk. FK Cooler says, I'm not a true slappy, and I still think Najee is totally fine too. Yeah, I'm not excited to draft him, but I'm also not too mad if he ends up on the team, right? I think like you said, he's totally fine. Let's see. Dirty P says, I don't take too much Hampton, usually only if I have Dak or Ladd or Nico. I think he's too pricey. Yeah, he's expensive. It's weird because, a lot of us are kind of still wired to last year, and last year didn't have the kind of second tier of running back that we were excited about. There's not a Hampton, Caleb, Quinshawn kind of equivalent from last year's as to where we would have taken them. So it's certainly interesting with those rookies, just because last year's running back class was so bad. The best running back probably was didn't play the whole season and may never play in the NFL, which is really unfortunate. All right, let's see what MN Bass does. As far as quarterback options, we've got Darnold late, Penix. If I want Penix, it's probably kind of now or never. But again, if I'm really gonna take the FK Coolers plan, I'm just gonna take Hollywood Brown here. and that is more than fine. More than fine. Let's see what the room gives us. It might just be Penix here because I could add a fifth running back. I don't really want to reach for Betch or beyond. I don't see any real reason to do that. I like Spears, Benson, White well enough. I think those guys are fine, but I'm almost inclined to just take this stack because if something weird happens and I don't get Darnold, then it's gonna get pretty gross on me. So I'm gonna reach a little bit just to secure the stack here. Whatever the playoff matchups are, I build almost every team like a sprint team. Yeah, that was my realization when drafting the sprint, kind of in reverse, was like I'm building a lot like BBM. Like I want to build players and teams that have good playoff schedules. Maybe looking at the playoffs more holistically than week to week, but very, very similar. I really like the sprint. I wish the sprint filled easier. I keep trying to join sprint lobbies at random times and it's just like not happening at all. FK Cooler is happy to be the fall guy if this does not work. Absolutely. And I can assure you that if this wins, you will receive no, I'm just kidding. I will make sure I'll label this team the FK Cooler. I'm actually just going to label it FK Coolers and then be really confused because you're not in the draft and I'm not going to remember anything in December, but I'll see if I can make sure to label this. And I at least know it's a stream draft, so I can go back and piece together what happened if this team makes any noise. You can blame me for this, and I can blame you. PM, AM, wave stack fails, a true win-win. That's it. All we want in life is diffusion of responsibility. We do not want to be responsible for the negative consequences of our actions. So you can blame me for golf DFS going south. I can blame you for this $7 poodle lighting on fire, and everyone's a winner except us. All right, let's see. B Gandy, he takes Marvin Mims, which made sense for his Bo Nix stack, and Trey Benson, like that. But yeah, back to the golf thing. It's the weather, that was yesterday, and they're very bad at predicting like when wind is arriving. So if that comes earlier or later, then I'm not going to stick with PMAM. Like if it, I have not checked this morning, but if it looks like it's even, then I'm just going to pick guys I like. Like I really like Fisk at 6,900. I think he's a great click, but he's in the bad wave. But if it's not bad, then if I need a player in that range, I'm going to probably put him back in. John Pock getting a little bit of steam, really hot on approach. He's only 6,300. One of the shortest hitters on tour, but and this is kind of a long course, but for some reason he's done well at that. He did well in Mexico, which is a long course. God awful around the greens, really not a good putter, but putting can be really random, and around the green it doesn't matter if you're hitting greens. So 6,200 you could do worse, but again he's not in the good wave. He's 500 to 1 if you're into that sort of thing. But let's see what are we doing here. I think we're just taking Tyler Algier. We have Michael Penix. We need a fifth running back. All of these receivers are kind of meh, with the exception of maybe Pat Bryant. So I'll take Tyler Algier here. I think that's perfectly fine. Probably want another tight end. I know I could take Kyle Pitts, but friends don't let friends draft Kyle Pitts. I just don't know if I want. I don't know if I want to do that. He's just been so bad. Let's see what Steve says to do. Okay. I know he likes Zach Ertz, famously a huge Commander fan. My favorite tight end in this range is actually Brenton Strange. I like Brenton Strange if I'm taking a tight end, but he's also week 8. I have a lot of week 8 issues. There's McMillan, of course, just like last time. Pat Bryant does go, so he's off the table. Probably at this point, taking a tight end. I think I'm just going to play the hits and take Strange on this team. All right, I'm going to take Strange. I messed up. I was distracted. You have Najee Pile on Kyle Pitts. I don't know, man. If Kyle Pitts is who you need this year, it's gonna be a tough year. I'm happy with Bretton Strange. I really do. I do like that bet over in Jacksonville. Like when there's two guys you like and you hope one gets taken so you don't have to make a wrong choice. Exactly. And it's such a cowardly thing to do, but it's like, someone make this choice for me. Let the best ball gods decide this, because I know one way is going to be better than the other. And this way, I cannot choose wrong. The choice was made for me. Skeletor, have you looked into UFC 319 DFS yet? I have not, but that is on my list of things to do. I listened to the Bookie Beatdown podcast. That's Paul Shaughnessy and Cody Safdie. Those two guys are awesome. Really go in depth. They go fight by fight. If you listen to one MMA pod, I would say them. They don't really do DFS. They're more on the betting side. But if you listen to the content, you can figure out who the DFS players, the good DFS plays would be. So also just if you like MMA, they're really into it. And you know those guys do a ton in MMA. If you want to get into like regional stuff, PFL. BKFC, all of that, they cover it. You can get really deep in the MMA weeds with the guys at Bookie Beatdown, but I pretty much am limited to UFC just because I don't have the time to follow Bellator and all the other promotions these days. Let's see. FK Coolers. I was warming to buying Pitts at his 2025 ADP, but found weird foot injury stuff with lack of details. Yes, I know. That's what happened. I was taking Pitts in the big board. I was like, fool me once, shame on me. I got to like fool me like 4 times, and I was still making excuses. But it's so grim. Yeah, he needs to fall a bit more. I don't even know if I can do it, man. It's just so bad. Bookie Beatdown. I'll throw it on my Spotify. Yeah, Skeletor. If you're into MMA again, it's Paul Shaughnessy, Cody Safdie. They both they're on Twitter, and definitely recommend the Bookie Beatdown podcast. All right. Let's see. Coming back up, probably queue up Sam Darnold. See if we can get that there. This feels like it could be a 3-6-6-3 team or a 3-5-7-3 team. I wouldn't mind that. If we don't get Darnold, I feel like that's fine. It's not the end of the world. If this is a 2 QB team with Mahomes and Penix, Braylon Allen would be tempting, although I don't think I need a 6th running back on this team. But with Neighbors, London, and Williams, could also shut down receiver at 6 as well. So let's see. With Ollie Jones at 1 quarterback, if Darnold's there, I don't think I want to push it. I don't think he would take Aaron Rodgers over Darnold. So I'm just going to take Darnold here. Braylon Allen goes anyway. So as Dirty P had hoped, we don't have to make a tough choice. We can just click the guys we want here. So we'll add that to the team. We have Darnold, Penix, and Mahomes at quarterback. And let's see, for additional wide receiver, who do we want? Pretty flat range. I think my preference would probably be Alec Pierce here if we can add him to the team. Could add one of these tight ends, but I also think the last round tight ends are fine. And if I end up having to be the Arroyo guy, I can be the Arroyo guy. That's fine, especially when we already have Travis Kelce and Strange, who I think are close to the threshold where you could shut it down at 2. But I generally just prefer, I think the team's a little more sturdy when you get that third tight end in there. Let's see what Magic Eagle does. Also, Miles Sanders is tempting here, right? I mean, I'm almost thinking I just take Miles Sanders, because if he really is taking, I'm going to take Miles Sanders. He might be a 0, but so might a lot of these guys, but he also literally might be the starting running back in Dallas at pick 183. So I'm going to take a punt on Sanders. This could be bad. This is definitely going to be a 3-6-6-3 team unless something really weird happens and I go 3-6-7-2. But again, I do think I want to add one more tight end, especially with Kelsey being, in my opinion, a little potentially squirrely week to week. Kind of a late season hammer. Let's see if we can get one more guy that we're confident in early. Let's see. Skeletor normally goes off vibes for MMA, but I'll check it out. Yeah, it's and they're very entertaining. And Cody is a matchmaker for regional promotions and knows his stuff. And Paul Shaughnessy, he's amazing with props. So they're great chemistry, great show. Highly recommended. Who Hames, sup fam? Who Hames, a Who crew is Legion. Last I saw, Who Hames was within 2 of 200 subs. So I hope you got there, or you are at least close. Who Hames, thank you so much for coming by. Dirty P throwing up the Who crew emoji, and Lay the House RM just plays 150 lineups, so he wins every time. That's easy game. Easy game, as they said. If I had 150 lineups, I'd win too. But I only play one lineup a week. I enter it in everything, figuring 1 week I will win everything and I will ride off into the sunset. I would actually just be back the next week, but I do put all my eggs into one basket, which again, I don't recommend doing that because it's a lot of research to land on one lineup. I think for football next year, I'm going to at very least start doing a lot more 3 max stuff and maybe even 20 max. But I did try 150 maxing and did not do well. I prefer to kind of just hand build and do single entry contests because I think that's a bigger edge, especially with all the optimizers and that stuff. I think is making some of the MMEing very, very difficult. Whereas at least single entry, you have some hope as a hand builder. At least in my head, you do. So anyway, I have more fun hand building than just trying to update spreadsheets and exposures and percentages and stuff. That's not the part of the game that I'm really like or am good at. All right, we are coming around. Let's type our guy. All right, MVS would be our pick there at receiver. Let's see the tight end options. So as of now, there are some good ones. I like Chig. I like Juwan Johnson. I think my preference would be Juwan Johnson. Almost tempted to take my tight end before my running back, especially if one of these two goes, because I think there's a good chance. You know what? I guess if I ended up with Schultz, that'd be fine. All right, I'm going to be pretty tilted if MVS goes, but we're going to take Juwan Johnson and chance it. If MVS goes, we'll queue up AD Mitchell. And is Royals still here? Jalen Royals is there, so I guess I could take Jalen Royals as a potential backup option. All right, we are going to take MVS. And that will round out this 3-6-6-3 team with Pat Mahomes, Michael Penix, Sam Darnold at QB, Ken Walker, RJ Harvey, Isaiah Pacheco, Najee Harris, Tyler Algier, and Miles Sanders at running back, Malik Neighbors, Drake London, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jamison Williams, Hollywood Brown, and MVS at receiver with Travis Kelce, Brenton Strange, and Juwan Johnson at tight end. I like this team. I think this team is not too shabby. So let's see, before we get out of the room, let's see what our friend B. Grandy did. Last we checked on him, he had taken MVS and Trey Benson, and since then has added Leggett and Bryce Young, so he gets the stack, and it's nice you get Leggett, and we're able to push Young all the way around. Matt Stafford, Jatavion Sanders, Terrence Ferguson, and one more player. B. Grandy, I like the team you constructed. You did get Stafford with your Devonta pick, which is nice, especially when you make that pull him all the way into the second, you are counting on him having a big season. And I think you got a little discount on Stafford, so your gamble of pushing QB worked. I like that. I like the team you have put together, adding the aforementioned Jalen Royals. So at least if Royals goes off, one of us will hopefully advance out of this pod. So awesome. Thanks for drafting here. Let's see. Dirty P, if anyone's interested, plus 10 on the 30 BBM. Yikes. That's funny. Both of us landed on Darnold, JSN, MBS. I'm telling you, FK Coolers, I just copied your team. Not that part I did not mean to. That part I was unintentional, but I like that build. I think it's good. MBS is live for some spike weeks, and I don't know. Steve is high on MBS, and Steve knows what he's doing. So, all right, let's see. First of all, let me go to my Poodles here. And all right, name this draft. FK Coolers copycat his fault. Okay. Oh, and I'll put ST for stream. I'll know what that means. I probably won't know what that means. All right, perfect. All right, FK Coolers, you have been immortalized in this draft. So now I will know it is your fault if it goes south. All right, let's see what we can do here with BBM. All right, let's see if you're telling the truth, Dirty P, or you're just trying to keep us out. I'll hop in this 30-second. Waiting for 7. Plus 4 on the 20. All right, I'm going to hop out of this BBM. I don't think it'll fill fast enough to rug everyone. I'll try to hop in that 20-second BBM. I'm joining now. Give everyone a second. All right, I'm hopping in. Oh, it's plus 2. Oh, shoot. I don't want to rug everybody. I feel like I'm making it worse. I'm trying to get people into this thing. Forget BBM. It's plus 2. All right, let's see if we can't do a Pitbull. All right, 20-second Pitbull. I'm going to see what this is at. Plus 10. All right. Yeah, if the 20-second was plus 2, then I'm worried about that no one being able to get in. Let's see what the 30's still at. Yeah, legendary rug pulls. I am 7. I just don't think this is going to fill in time. All right. This is tough. This is a tough seat. All right, I'm going to hop in the 20-second BBM. I apologize if you hop in this and it underflows. I'm going to feel terrible. Waiting for 1. All right. If anybody it just fired. Oh my God. All right. Let's see. Did anyone B Grandy, you got in. All right. B Grandy got in. We got Frank Gore here. I hope that's the actual Frank Gore. ATX Bearcat. Oh no, ATX Bearcat says I'll play, and I was trying, guys. I was trying to get something that everybody could get in, and I failed. This is a 20-second BBM where only B Grandy got in. Lay the house RM. I do slows if there's a contest I want to max. Is about to fill. So I finish like the puppy with slows, but I don't do a ton of slows just because I find them more annoying than anything. Yeah, sorry, ATX Bearcat. I did want to. I'll be on tomorrow, so we'll hopefully be able to draft with anyone that wants to. Yeah, Chad doing what he can for the people in multiple rooms. I'm doing my best, folks. I am doing my best with the liquidity we have. Yeah, you put your 30-second in, you take your 30-second out, you put your Pitbull in, you take your Pitbull out. B Grandy hogging all the spots. Now, no, the classic have to be an effort gap. No, B Grandy, I am not fussed at all because you never know. It could have just been some random there. So I appreciate you helping fill these rooms because it's a lot more fun to be doing the drafts than just jumping in and out and rugging our friends. All right, let's see. B Gandhi this time takes Saquon ahead of Bijan from the 3 hole. It gets a little mini discount as Jordan Rice takes Jefferson. I have the 9 hole again, so all these teams are. I think have I had the 9 hole every time, or did I get the 10 hole before? Anyway, drafting on this side of the board, not my favorite, and we keep getting them, but again, this is a BBM, so we really got to lock in here. Let's see what the room gives us. Again, we're just going to go by ADP. Probably, I would be tempted to take Nico ahead of Neighbors here. You know what? I'm gonna do it. We just did a Neighbors team there. I like Nico Collins quite a bit. I like Houston's playoff schedule a lot. So let's take Nico there and see what we can see. Let's see what we can build. I know I want to get my Derrick Henry exposure, but I don't want to take him at 9. I think that's forcing it. If this isn't the room to start taking Henry, then it's not the room. Great time to pull a BTJ JT. I suppose that is again a week 17 game. I'm really am high on if I am looking to stack a game. Really in on the Jags Colts game. I think that has the potential for a shootout. Love Jonathan Taylor this season. Let's see, Frank Gore he takes Drake London. Does Yashal Manda. He takes Derrick Henry. So we still cannot get the elusive Derrick Henry on the team. But I'm going to take a lad here. I'm going to take a little lad McConkey. We're going to get a little different. So at the very least, we're building slightly different than we had earlier. Again, I like a lot this whole range. I mean, I don't want to fade any of them, but we'll start with two receivers this draft and see what we can end up. But again, I would have loved to have gotten a Nico Henry start again, just to start correcting some exposures. Cad doing his best. Scammer gets scammed by rugging everyone. Yes. Yeah. The best rugs are the ones where you don't benefit at all. Just like throwing people into a random draft that I will see no value from it's a good bit. Eric Foster, he goes RBRB with Gibbs and A-Chain, and Sporting Kid goes Bijan Bucky. So a couple of high T bros to start. B. Crandy takes a very early Terry McLaurin there at 22. Interesting selection. See if B. Grandy is setting something up here. Da Bearman, he is going to go full clench and try to push Burrow, or maybe he'll just get scared and take Burrow at the 4-5 turn, but he goes Higgins Chase. So let's see if he risks it. Then he takes McBride. Full week 17 game stack so far from the 1 hole. Something you see fairly frequently, although sometimes you see it done with MHJ over McBride. Interesting, selection there. B. Grandy, he takes a very early Jaden Daniels, so he locks in the stack. Interesting there from B. Grandy. I do have to say, I do worry that you can get that same stack from the 3-4 versus the 2-3, but again, as I am fond of saying, you don't lose a pick, you just get somebody else. So it's all going to, if you like the guys you get in that 4-5 range, then it does make sense. I will windmill in Chase Brown at this pick here. He's usually not here. I will not complain about getting Chase Brown at pick 33. So that was a bit of a gift for me, especially when I saw a couple of heavy running back picks early. I did not think I would get a falling running back, but I got one. So not going to complain about that. I like doing BTJ JT at 11-12. It gets you unique. Yeah, I like those unique combos that don't sacrifice projection, but get you unique. And that's definitely one of them. Like, you're never going to get JT at 36. So you can do that and not feel like somebody is going to just be, covering you up super drastically. Let's see, with Brown, Nico, and Ladd. Let's see what comes up to us. There goes William. That saved me from myself because it's very hard for me to not take Williams there. Probably just take Ted McMillan. I know James Cook is tempting, but I think I think I'm just going to take the upside swing on Tet here. And so we'll start the team with Chase Brown, Nico Collins, Ladd McConkey, and Tet McMillan. So I like this start from the 9-hole. Again, I think these 9-hole teams look so much better when you can get a Chase Brown on them versus a Breece or Kyron. To me, that's maybe that's wrong, but in my head, that's a pretty hefty sort of tier break. Something to be said. Maybe I should have taken James Cook there because I do like the receivers you get at 57, 64, and then running back kind of at 81, 88 sort of reemerges, especially 81. You get like your Caleb kind of range there, whereas this is still fertile ground for receiver. So, we'll see what the room gives us, and see if we can find some good value coming. B. Gandy takes Devonta Smith on his team. So I wonder if Bearman is more likely to try to push Burrow because the two guys in front of him both have elite quarterbacks. If that makes him more inclined to attempt a Burrow push, will people protect the integrity of Best Ball Mania? So he risks it. He takes Zay Flowers and George Pickens on his team. B. Gandy with the opportunity to go double elite quarterback. Let's see if he takes it with Jalen Hurts still there, who could stack with Devonta. He does not. He takes Travis Hunter. All right. Yeah, I was not saying that would necessarily be the best move, but it can be a little tempting. I'm not gonna lie. Your inner gritty starts coming out like the Venom mask and starts telling you to take double elite quarterback. All right, let's see. I am coming up. I will catch up on chat. Yeah, 20-second speed is flying by. Man, I would absolutely take Jalen Hurts. I would have loved Chuba Hubbard because that would be a nice. Oh my God, I gotta just take Jalen Hurts here, right? I can't pass on this at 57. I like a lot of those other guys, but I'm gonna just take Hurts here. I think that's a lot of ADP value early in this early in the draft to where that matters. And I can figure something else out. Let's see by rank. He's got Mixon, Kamara, and Connor. I think I actually agree with that. I think Travion Henderson is another tier below. I would rather wait, I think, on the next clump and then take something like an Odunze or a Godwin here versus Henderson. So let's see. I probably will not have to do that, but let's see if we can get Kamara or Connor here. So Joe Burrow goes. Kamara goes. A little unfortunate. I think I would have preferred Kamara to Connor, but I can get my own mini week 17 Bengals cards thing with Brown and Connor. Two running backs, usually not how you want to game stack a game, but I do like James Conner well enough this year, and I think I don't want to get super far behind at running back in this room, but happy with how the team is coming together so far. All right, let's see what's going on. I've been slamming Elite QB early fourth. Not surprised to see them rising. Yeah, Tiger Uppercut. First of all, thank you so much for coming by this morning, and I agree with you there. It's more title than actual coaching. I think I missed something before. But first of all, if you have not liked and subscribed, please do. I don't have the live like meter up, but whatever we can do to get that up, I would appreciate that. Also, if you have not subscribed, I would love that. We're on the road to 200. We have a ways to go, but only you can make it happen. So thank you so much for being here and for doing that. If anything, I'm more worried about Trevor's inability to find BTJ as efficiently as Mac Jones did last year. James Young, the resident T-Law Bear, I would have to hope he can be better than Mac Jones, although Mac Jones did hyper-target him. And sometimes these bad quarterbacks, they at the very least can just lock on to their first read, and if they're an elite receiver, then that can work well enough. But I'd like to think T-Law can make that happen. I was hoping the same about Matt Nagy returning to Kansas City. I am a bit queasy. Dirty P always a little concerned. Got to push Burrow every time we're here to gamble Yeah, but oh my God, this guy has a lot of receivers. He has 6 receivers through 7. So Bearman, he gets denied the stack and just turns into a huge pitch boy. I wouldn't push it if Zay Flowers and Pickens were the choices. Yes, Huhames, hold on. We are up. It's a little bit of a fall on Swift. I almost think I like Mooney more than some of these other options here, although running back goes really south. I'm just going to take Mooney. I think that's fine. I think Mooney is my favorite receiver by a fair amount in that range. If I don't get one of those 3 receivers, it's not the end of the world to me. But obviously I would probably have felt better if I had taken Pollard or Swift in that range. I don't know. I kind of let that pick creep up on me just a little bit because I have no interest in B-Rob. I don't know if I want to reach up for Mason. There's no reason to take another quarterback. So was that a misstep? Possibly, but hopefully we can catch up there, or we take another receiver here and then shut this down with 6 receivers. Let's see what the room decides to give to us. But yeah, no Mahomes, no Ayuk, no Robinson. It'd probably be like Cooper Kupp. He takes Baker Mayfield, so we kind of got lucky there. I got to be honest. We kind of got lucky with Aaron Jones, who I think is being a little unfairly maligned, getting him 5 picks past ADP. We got him 5 picks past ADP. We took Mooney 5 picks before ADP. So did we really do anything other than make ourselves sweat? No. But again, glad that worked out, especially this in a BBM where I do feel like the decisions are magnified because you only get 150, and it is the contest that we all care about quite a bit. B. Gandy, he added Travis Hunter, Deebo Samuel, and Quinshon Judkins to his team. I like what we got going on there. Yeah, Huhames, you were mentioning that you didn't think the Burrow push was necessarily the worst thing because the difference between these 7-8 guys is not hugely from the 5-6 guys. I think that was you making that argument, which I'm certainly willing to listen to that, right? Like again, like the difference between Flowers and Pickens versus, Jaden Reed, a guy we were taking very early last year. I don't know. Is it that big? And like Matthew Golden, players that we're very excited about. So I'm certainly warming up to the idea of just like taking Burrow, especially if you go Chase Higgins and not risking it. There's that too. T-Law is a first read QB. Yeah, that would be more bearish for Travis Hunter. If anything, Hurts is a smash there. Thank you, Tiger Uppercut. I hope so. Yeah, he's the actual OC. Not much more than a difficult glorified coaching title. Lay the house. RM likes it. Awesome. Chad, T-Eds, what's good? Finally caught at the end of the stream today. Yes, T-Eds, thank you so much for coming by. My gosh, we are up again. This clock is absolutely cooking here. Let's see, quarterbacks. No need to take another quarterback here. There goes Travis Kelce. Probably just take Trey Harris and continue to potentially build out this little Charger bet we have going. Where does Herbert go? Herbert goes at 125, which I think means if we try to push him, we'd have to get him to 129. Might be worth the push. Our backup options are Nico, who goes after that. So maybe we do try to push. Maybe we do try to push Herbert here. Justin Fields would be super tempting, unstacked, 11 picks past ADP, and then maybe we just we can't end with Hurts and Fields because they're both week 9. That's unfortunate. With all those Chargers, Najee Harris, again, I know I took him last time. He certainly becomes an interesting click if we are just going to mega stack the Chargers. Evan Ingram, though, as a first tight end, I like that pick quite a bit. So let's see what kind of options we get here. Scatabo goes. That's unfortunate. I like Scatabo. If I needed a running back, he would be there. So we have the choice between Evan Ingram and Najee Harris. Steve has them pretty close by ADP. Evan Ingram. I'm going to push, if I'm fast enough, I'm going to push tight end. I'm going to push tight end late. This will probably be a 3 late tight end team. Dallas Goedert will be a priority on this team with Jalen Hurts being unstacked. But again, Najee might give us the flexibility to end this at 5 running backs. And in the ideal world, that will also help discourage somebody from trying to, talk themselves into a DIY Herbert stack. So fingers crossed, Herbert comes back to us. If he does not, then we gambled and lost. Who aims for the live like counter? Just keep the YouTube feed up off YouTube on my second stream. Need it up if you want to make a poll. Anyways, who aims? That's a good point. And I need to start doing polls to be more interactive and times when we need to break some ties. Oh my gosh, I just hit print screen. All right. I've heard others make that point. BBG was okay. Yeah. About the Burrow push makes sense. Herzig was making the argument. Don't know where I heard Herzig though. It was recent. All right. So apparently this is a popular take these days. Argument was the 2v2 and 3v3 when pushing per Burrow. Herzig is team. Get your stack. Well, yes. If Herzig thinks something's a good idea, it's probably a good idea. I'm just gonna put that out there. He is probably the best ball player of all time, and we should probably be listening to him when he makes those kind of statements. Let's see. Will Justin Herbert come to us, or will Logan Marchese take him? I hope if he needs a quarterback, he takes Jared Goff here. That would be much better. He takes Njoku. He pushes quarterback. We get our guy. I am not going to get cute and push Herbert any further. That would be bad. As much as I do like, I like Tucker Kraft. I think Goddard probably is the pick here. Let's see what comes around. I am pretty heavily Kraft over Goddard, though, unfortunately. And I know the stacking makes sense. All right, there goes Kraft. Let's see if we do get Goddard. This guy just keeps taking tight ends. He's ruining my life. Why do you have Hawkinson, Andrews, and Kraft? Go away, Red Pirate Roberts. You are killing the vibe here. All right, let's see. Oh God, Kincaid goes. No, we're not gonna get any of them. We're gonna end up with Jake Ferguson. This is unfortunate. Oh, we get our guy. Oh my gosh, things have a way of working out. So we've got 2, 4, 5, 1 on this team. Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, running back room of Chase Brown, James Conner, Aaron Jones, Najee Harris. Wide receivers, Nico Collins, Ladd McConkey, Ted McMillan, Darnell Mooney, Trey Harris, and Dallas Goedert at tight end. Could I have taken CJ Stroud? Yes, but I don't think I need to force 3 QBs. 3 QBs through 12 is pretty aggressive, especially when you have Jalen Hurts. And if Stroud somehow comes all the way back around, we can have a conversation then. But definitely happy with the team. Who Hames is asking which video was that. The Sims on the Sidekick massively push up QB with stacks if you pay attention when they use it. Yeah, I believe that. I have seen that when I've seen streamers using the old Sidekick there. All right, so taking a breath, let's see what this team needs. Certainly another tight end or 2. Receiver feels pretty good. Never sad about adding receiver firepower. Maybe if we want to add a third quarterback, we could potentially do a Bryce Young situation. I think that would make a certain amount of sense if we had to do it. Again, I will not force a third quarterback, but if something falls to us, then we can do that. Let's see if K. Colts takes 4 QBs. Nope, he takes Kyle Pitts. Tua goes. Interesting stuff here. Assuming that Stroud is not there and we don't have to make the decision, I think Tyler Algier would probably be my pick, although maybe I do need more Rashad White in my life. I can't pass on Stroud here, right? This is... I'm just going to take Stroud, and this is going to be a 3 QB team. I know, what's more likely to save my lineup, CJ Stroud or, Quentin Johnson. I know I have Ladd. I don't like QJ much. I guess if QJ comes back around, I'll take him, but maybe that was a trap, and maybe that's something that maybe that's a leak in my game that I couldn't pass that ADP value, but that just seems kind of nuts there. And pairing him with Nico, that is really hard to pass up. I'll queue up QJ, even though I don't love him. If QJ goes, yeah, I guess I take QJ, right? I've got Ladd. Now I'll take Harris, Ladd, and QJ. All right. We'll make this go. I try to watch everything he does. Yeah, I do too. I simply cannot imagine like somebody who's so good at this and is willingly to like discuss what they do. And you see it in practice. Like if you're in rooms with Herzig, he doesn't just like say one thing and do the other. That it absolutely, if we're trying to improve our game, pay attention to what he does. Tiger Uppercut says Stroud is an easy click there. Okay, well, making me feel better. Thank you for that. Only pick I would have considered over Stroud would have been tight end, but there was nothing there. Yeah, I mean, it's like I love Brenton Strange, but I have gobs of him, and if I have to add 2 late tight ends, that's fine. Tight end, we can take some darts late. I took Stroud 3 QB yesterday with Lamar and Herbie, 20 picks, asked ADP with Nico, Higgins, Mixon, and Ladd. Yeah, there you go. It's a similar thing. Like it seems like it's so good for advance rate, and then in the playoffs, like you just don't know what you're going to need to survive a week. And getting Stroud and Ladd stacked like that just feels so strong. I'll queue up Rico Dowdle because we do have Ted, so we've got a little Carolina thing, and I think he's kind of the end of the standalone plus contingent range. After this, you're kind of just in contingent value only, although Brenton Strange is still here, and I almost took him last time. Mike Gesicki is here. I think I need that more than I need Dowdle, but my goodness, what an interesting room we have had here. And let's see what happens. So there goes Gesicki. There goes Mason Taylor. I'm just going to take Brenton Strange. I almost took him last pick, and let's just do that. And maybe I got saved. Let's see if we get Will Shipley, right? Because Will Shipley probably makes more sense with Jalen Hurts. Anyway, there goes Dowdle. I know we took Miles Sanders last time, but we could certainly consider taking him again here. Probably stop this team with 5 running backs, although maybe that would mean no more receivers, but Nico, Ladd, and Tet and Mooney, I think that's a fine starting 4 with Harris and QJ mixing in. Maybe would prefer one more, but interesting question. Interesting question here. So there goes Chig. I think we just take Will Shipley chasing. I think we just take Will Shipley. As much as I do like the Miles Sanders concept, I think Shipley makes sense on this with Jalen Hurts there. All right. T. Ed says wide receiver and tight end to close. That's what I'm leaning towards. I think that's what I'm leaning towards. I've got to hope Chase Brown carries. I mean, I'm hoping Chase Brown and Connors carries the team, and Jones and Harris are kind of fighting for a flex role most weeks. And if the Chargers get there on the ground, that means a lot of my pass catchers aren't getting there. So I need some of the other stacks to step up. But yeah, interesting team that we've put together here. So good for week 17. Fully opens up another game. Yeah, I agree. It does. And again, I love Houston's playoff schedule here. Bus rate at wide receiver, running back, tight end at pick has to be insanely high. That's why I like Stroud there. Yeah. I mean, the corollary to that is if you do hit, that's like those home run, like league winning guys. So you don't always want to sacrifice like safety just to avoid zeros, because if you hit one of those position players, that's a smash. That's really good. But I also I also feel like Stroud could be like the guy you need down the stretch. Like I think that's a reasonable outcome. If anyone's interested in that Herzig interview, it was earlier week on RotoViz YouTube. Awesome. Wide receiver. Oh, you said that. Oh, I brought that up already. Wide receiver, very good, but LA concentrated, so can use a 7th. Yeah. That said, like Miles Sanders is just trundling around the board here. Man, this is tough. This is tough. We are being made to make some decisions here because again, the possibility that he is the running back 1 in Dallas. What do you win when you win? You win a lot. You win a lot there. Versus like, I need Darius Slayton here. I think Sanders is the bigger swing. I think we go Miles Sanders here. And then could potentially end this at 2 tight ends with Goddard and Strange. We go 3, 6, 7, 2. I typically like one more tight end though. And I don't know if that's good enough to count on. I don't know. Rico had 100 yards and 2 TDs. Yeah. That's no, late in the season he was I think that was week 18. He was like a mega smash there. Boy, this is tough. None of these tight ends. Dalton Schultz is all right. I don't take much Dalton Schultz, but he's way past ADP. I need a tight end, and I have CJ Stroud, so we'll just do it. I'm not a big Schultz guy. I feel like he had good opportunity last year and just didn't do anything, but I think he just makes sense on this team if I'm ever going to take Schultz in the 18th round. So this team ends up being a 3-6-6-3 with Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, CJ Stroud, a very powerful QB room, Chase Brown, James Conner, Aaron Jones, Najee Harris, Will Shipley chasing, and Miles Sanders at running back. So a few swings late, like the running back room, wide receiver room of Nico Collins, Ladd McConkey, Ted McMillan, Darnell Mooney, Trey Harris, and QJ. So really got to hope we were right with these first few picks, these first 3, and then just hold on for dear life. Rotate in some Charger receivers, and then Dallas Goedert, Brenton Strange, and Dalton Schultz at tight end. I like the team. It's certainly a little dicey here, but Dirty P, we are not we're not all turning to Turpin, but I see the vision. Dalton for your stack brother. All right, I am glad you got there. 1,000 yards and 2 rushing TDs on the season. Added 3. Didn't add the 0 earlier. Gotcha. Yeah, I thought you meant the week. I think it was week 18 that Dowdle finally had like a massive week. He didn't score a lot of touchdowns last season. Good squad. Thank you, T-Eds. Thank you. All right. So first, before we get out of here, let me just check on B. Grandy. If it's not going to boot me, then I can view your team this way. All right. So B. Grandy, he's got a 3-5-7-3 team with Jaden Daniels, Daniel Jones, and Shedeur Sanders. Oh my gosh, B. Grandy, Shedeur Sanders, and Daniel Jones. You are if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much room, says B. Grandy. Running back room of Saquon, Judkins, Jalen Warren, Javonte Williams, and Austin Eckler. So very heavy on these first 3 backs with a couple of dart throws. Javonte, very similar bet to Sanders, and Eckler. Eckler, nice guy to pair with Jaden Daniels. Their wide receiver room: Terry McLaurin, Devontae Smith, Travis Hunter, Debo Samuel, Keenan Allen, Cedric Tillman, and A.D. Mitchell. So I see the stacks you had with Cleveland, although I am worried Shedeur Sanders is not the guy. If he is, my goodness. And then Tyler Warren, Jake Ferguson, and Zach Ertz. Like the late Zach Ertz add to your stack. An interesting team. Not going to be a lot of Shedeur Sanders in BBM unless we get some big change. So let's see. Yeah, holy Shedeur sighting. That's what you get here. But our friend B. Grandy, thank you so much for drafting with me. Again, I apologize to anyone else who tried to hop in this BBM 30 plus 1. I'm not going to hop into that. We are about to hit the 2-hour mark. I don't know how many likes I have. Let me see how many likes we've got. I'm curious. I've never done this before. Let's see. I might hop into one more. But if I see like 10 likes, then we're just going to call it here. So please like and subscribe. All right. Oh my God. We are at 18 likes. Can we get to 20? Can we get to 20 likes? And we will do one more. One more draft. I can try to see what the Pitbull is doing here. What is a 20-second Pitbull at? It fired. It fired. I did not know it was going to fire. Please get me to 20 likes anyway. I'm doing one more draft. I gotta call it. I gotta call it after. I gotta call it after this. I'm so sorry. I wanted to draft with you all. I did not think it was going to snap fill. I have no way of knowing. Yeah, this is so brutal. It's only taken the stream. I know. I wanted to get in the draft that was going to be like +4 so you guys can do it. Yeah, big timing, you guys. That's it. Yeah, I'm like, get my like number so I can draft by myself. Forget all you people. Oh my God, T-Eds. All right, I jumped into 30-second BBM. Awesome. Well, again, I hope I helped fill that, even if I'm not part of it. That is pretty funny. I apologize. You will get to 20 by the end of this. All right, Who Aims. Awesome. Well, also, if you have not subscribed, I think I'm at 105. I would love to end this stream at 106. If I get one more sub a day, then, by the time football season starts, I'll be over 150, which would be fun. Let's see. What do we want to do in the 2-hole here? Let's see. I'm almost feeling starting Bijan. Let's start Bijan in our Pitbull. Let's get a little different. Nothing too crazy. I want in the Pitbull it to be, it's only 10 max. I'd like it to be a little more player takey, not really going to worry about exposure, try to draft teams I have fun with. And my favorite pick at 102 really is Bijan, because I think he's is pretty live to be the number one running back this year. Also could have started with Gibbs. I love Gibbs as well. That would have been kind of fun, but I think I'm going to get at least one Gibbs team in this contest where, who knows with the way draft luck comes out, Bijan might be harder to get. Let's see. You could have fired this BBM for me, chat. I know. It's also, to be honest, Dirty P, it's a 30-second, and I kind of want to do one that's like a little shorter, and I do want to save some of my BBM bullets. I try not to do more than one BBM a day, maybe 2. But I do appreciate you hopping in that, and I'm sorry I was not able to fill it. I'm taking like 50% Puka in the Poodle, I think. Yeah, Who Aims, I love that. Like, just make these small contests fun, right? Like, if you want to grind every edge to the nub, do that in BBM. Do that if you want the puppy, you just like lock in, like, I'm going to be an exposure bro. Do that in the puppy. These small contests, like, I think you should make them fun. Or go the opposite way. Make these where you grab every ADP value, because some of these rooms, you're going to have people reaching for their favorite players. So you actually can get a ton of ADP value in these smaller contests if you are willing to be the guy, the machine that like all the money flies down. I've always wanted to do this, never gotten to, because I live in the real world and not in a game show, and the money is blowing everywhere. People are like grabbing it. Just sit at the bottom. Just pick up all the money. That's what you got to do. So if you want to think of these contests as, sitting at the bottom of the phone booth, picking up dollar bills, like, you can do that, but you got to find a way to make sure that this stays fun, because it's such a grind. If you do 1,000 drafts, you cannot grind yourself to the 8.5% nub, or you're just going to lose your mind. Unless you're built different. Like I have to have some of these drafts where I'm just trying to have some fun and not like go crazy. Anyway, that's my rant. Make sure this is fun. Make sure this is fun, because it's a terrible way to make money. Like, most people lose every year. So if you lose and you're miserable, that sucks. But at least if you're having a little fun, and maybe you're more likely to win if you're you're sharp and you are having fun. I'm assuming you're dressing up as Aladdin for Halloween. Magic rug pull. I do not want to get canceled, so I'm going to avoid dressing as Aladdin. Oh no, Aladdin's the main guy. He's not the genie. I thought I had to be the genie. I can't do that. Yeah, I could wear a vest and have a baguette, and I don't know why he has a bag. He had a baguette for a while before things turned around for him. I guess once you're a prince, you can do better than a French loaf. All right, let's see. We took Bijan with our first pick. What we're not going to do is take Rashee Rice, because I don't believe in taking Rashee Rice in pick 23. Bucky Irving goes. I wonder if we're going to have people autoing because these contests take so long to fill. All right. We get Bijan, and let's take Tyreek Hill. I am really in on Tyreek Hill. I really like Garrett Wilson. I like MHJ. I like Chase Brown. Let's see what the room what Winky Christ does after we take Tyreek there. So yeah, I'm going to take Tyreek and Garrett Wilson here, I think. All right, yeah, I really like these two receivers. These were both first-round receivers last season. I think Tyreek Hill is going to start grinding higher in this contest. And so, again, I have a couple of guys I think are live to finish as top 5 receivers that you're getting quite a bit later. And I have a guy I think could be the running back 1 this season. So if that's the story, I am going to tell myself. Again, trying to make this draft the Chad Candles takes draft versus just the exposure Pro scammer get scammed. Yes, Skeletor, that's what happens. I keep rug pulling my friends here into joining drafts I am not in. I'm standing my ground. This 30-second BBM in the lobby. Still need one. If you want to do a 30-second BBM with Dirty P, everyone, please hop over there and maybe open after this draft. Oh, God. Oh, God. I'm not going to have fun trying to win. Yeah, OMG Godlike. That's it. Yeah, no fun. No fun allowed. No fun allowed. Whohame says, forgot I signed up for this Drafters Mini. It is now round 6. That's the worst. That is the worst when you're like going about your day and you get the notification on your phone that for some reason you only got like then, and it's like round 8. And you're like, cool, thanks. Why didn't you tell me this before? OMG Godlike will be entering drunk 30-second BBM. OMG Godlike works the night shift, so he earns his morning beverages. So do not judge OMG Godlike. Do not be like me and make assumptions why there are drinking at 10 a.m. He is a hard working person. Gave up the 30-second BBM, wouldn't fill, and then the OMG Godlike says he's in. Oh no, T-Eds, disaster. That was my avatar switch yesterday. Need to call upon an alter ego to stave off the burnout. Yeah, it's a long summer. If you do this, you know, it's you got to find ways to keep it fresh. And I think these small contests just, you know, finding times to make these fun and finding times to try to grind the edge to the nub is important here. Because I'm not suggesting just hemorrhaging EV, but just, you know, doing things to keep this fresh. Sometimes you've got to choose to beat the problems in these draft rooms. Yes. Sometimes you have to, like, you know, if it's pick 71 and Joe Burrow's there, what am I supposed to do? Just let Winky Christ take him? We'll see. Theme of the morning is rug pulls. Yes, who hames? It's the theme of the rug pull is trying to get our friends into the drafts and then abruptly joining a different draft, which immediately fires. It would be a nice feature if you could see how many people were in a draft before it went off. I don't know if they're afraid that would get abused, or if you see nobody's in a draft, then you're less likely to join it. So maybe it would actually be a net negative because nobody wants to sit in a room with 2 or 3. But if you just blindly join, you might stick around. I don't know. I guess there's probably some psychology behind that. All right. Yeah, more coffee. I've been talking for 2 hours straight. We're gonna lose the voice here. All right. Jaden Daniels goes. He denies the Terry McLaurin drafter the double stack. No elite QB options for me. I like George Kittle quite a bit, but I think I could push Kittle, assuming Winky Christ doesn't go double elite. With that said, probably take Hampton here. I think Hampton is a little more fun than some of these. Actually, I think I might have just wanted to take Ridley or Waddle there, but that's okay. We're going to queue up George Kittle and hope he does not go double elite tight end. If he does, good for him, because I think double elite tight end it's kind of fun, even if it's not necessarily the most super optimal way to build. So I'll add George Kittle to this team. So we've started out 0-2-2-1 with Bijan, Omari, and Hampton, and then Tyreek Hill, Garrett Wilson, and George Kittle. Again, George Kittle, a guy could potentially finish as the tight end 1. So my theme is, taking guys I think could finish higher than we're taking them. Hampton kind of might be the opposite. To be perfectly frank, I think there's a chance Hampton finishes lower in the running back pecking order than we want, but certainly exciting upside swing. There's going to be a couple running backs I like here at 71 and 74, but there's usually a receiver or two I'm interested as well. So I should have some optionality with two receivers and two backs of who I take there. Still need one. Dirty P is in. All right. Hopefully you guys fire that 30-second BBM. I'm more invested in that than this Pitbull here. Drafters does it. Boo, no Hampton FUD. Who aims? I could only FUD a guy so much when I just drafted him, right? Like I obviously do like the guy, but I urge caution. I urge caution. I think he might be a little frustrating early with Najee. Could be frustrating all season, but why couldn't Hampton and Najee be like a Mostert A-chain kind of thing? Where I'm not saying that Najee is anywhere near as explosive as Mostert, but that kind of like goal liney short yardage back where he's, rumbling in for, multiple touchdowns, but not a huge yardage total. But I think we could see Najee Harris like getting there on touchdowns, and this is a big touchdown dependent site. And hopefully Hampton can, be efficient with the touches he gets. I see the vision there, but it's an expensive vision when you're taking that in the fourth round. This is a piss boy draft. Yeah, sure is. Chuddy here is pissing. CRC, he's going strong. FLNX over here. He's on the right side of the board, so do we really care what he's doing? He's got four running backs through 6. Vince Rex here, he's got 3 through 6. So, the left side of the board, we're not as worried. The right side of the board, they're checking their T levels daily. BBM 30 fired. We drew the 2 and drafted Jay again. See, if I joined, maybe you're sitting there in the 10 hole, and then you're drafting Kyron Williams and debating taking elite quarterback. That's not fun. Justin Jefferson, that's fun. So I'm glad it all worked out for you, Dirty P. Hopefully you built the shipper in there. Oh my God, Joe Burrow is coming to us. Do we protect the integrity of the Pitbull? My God, I do not know. It could all be up to us. Do we do it? Do we give Winky Christ the gift? Whatever we do, I will tell you this. We are going to make him absolutely sweat. I'm going to queue up Ricky Pearsall because I'm going to get one of Judkins or Caleb. I like both of them. Let's see how... and so I don't really care which one, to be honest with you. I know one of his picks is going to be Burrow, so I'm just going to take Pearsall. And I will not protect the integrity of the Pitbull. I apologize. I didn't think I'd actually have to do it, and I backed down when the community needed me most. But I will queue up Caleb and Judkins, and so he takes Judkins. That's fine. I think I have Caleb ranked higher anyway, and I will take Caleb. So I do not want to sacrifice my team just to try to torpedo what someone else is doing. I don't think that's worth it. And yeah, maybe if I had Chase Brown, we'd be talking. But I did not. So did not do that in this particular draft there. But yeah, who Hames, going back to the discussion, like Travis Hunter, like what would the 2v2 be if you took him there? It would be Travis Hunter versus like Ricky Pearsall, or Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden. That could be somewhat substantial, right? Like, I don't know, that, looking at it in practice, that might be a little more than I was thinking it was, as much as I do like, this range of receiver. That's, you definitely, that is a benefit of pulling off the push. Especially if you're a big Travis Hunter believer, because he's now fallen into this range. When he was going in the early 40s, he wasn't in that category of guy you could get. And I think, Devonta Smith, opinions vary, but, could potentially be a pretty elite receiver that he got at the 4-5 turn. So Winky Christ is building a pretty strong team. Who Ames? I'm in on Hampton. No worries about Najee. Not saying Najee won't have a role, but at 65-35, I think Hampton pays off easily. Yeah, I take plenty of Hampton. I just, I have a tendency to kind of FUD my own team for some reason, which is probably bad. I guess I just don't want to be like a hopeless optimist in a game that, generally is going to lose most of our entries. But yeah, I like Hampton, and he certainly qualifies as a one of the more fun picks. Last draft, Pickens Flowers is a lot different than Hunter. Yes, yeah, I think Devontae Hunter is significantly better than Pickens Flowers. So in this draft, he was able to get a pretty nice value with his push. Let's see, thinking about quarterback for us, Tua, Fields, and certainly Purdy. Although Purdy goes, I think it's unfortunate, he goes at 103. So if we want Purdy, we pretty much got to take him now. I also like Justin Fields a lot. Like, I could potentially go Fields, Purdy, and then make it only a 2-quarterback team. I'm open to that. Idea. There's not like a huge faller. Cooper Kupp though is pretty tempting. A little past ADP. Interesting choice. We are going to get. We're going to get here. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna do the QB double tap. I'm gonna take Fields because he's more likely to go unstacked. I doubt Winky Christ takes Brock Purdy. If he does, then we're just gonna take a running back or receiver. He takes Kyler. Okay, that makes sense because he had that. So yeah, we'll double stack. We'll double up QB here. So now we've got Fields and Purdy. So we've got a Purdy double with Pearsall and Kittle. We've got Fields paired up with Garrett Wilson. This, to me, is enough QB firepower to where we probably should stop at 2 unless we somehow get like a really late fall on Tua. Tua goes around 150. We pick at 145. So if Tua, for some reason, was there at 167, I think we should grab him. Unless it's really dire at 146, I don't know about triple stacking. I think we got to catch up at some of the other positions, especially because we went early tight end, so our receiver room is maybe a little thinner than it normally would be. Let's pull up the board so people can see what is going on. Who is the slappy RB1 overall? CMC. I think it's CMC. I think it's CMC over Bijan. Bijan gets random like haters for some reason. I think it was G&T, but is now CMC in my opinion. Cross X Face, thank you so much for coming in this morning. Love the Fields Purdy double tap. Yeah, I think it makes sense on this. I think it makes sense on this team. We have a lot of receiving firepower now stacked up. It enables us to stop there. I think Fields is underpriced for a guy we're projecting to play 17 games, and Purdy is just kind of rock solid, has a strong playoff schedule. And if Ayuk really does miss time, then that offense might be more concentrated, and we see more out of Kittle, Pearsall. I like Jennings too. I take a ton of Jennings, and I have a ton of CMC. So. Purdy, I think is live to be a pretty useful fantasy asset this season. Let's see what is coming around to us. It's really grim in the receiver range. A few options at running back, but I don't know what's going to come to us. Hopefully, people are taking quarterbacks. These guys don't have one, so we'll see if they thin out the QB herd too much. Wide receiver is. Yeah, there goes Kyle Williams, which makes this range particularly unappetizing. I think if Cam Scatabo falls to me, I'm going to take Scatabo because I am a huge Scatabo slappy. If Scatabo is gone, maybe it's Ramondre. I don't take any Javonte. Tootin is a little more of an exciting click. If I'm doing the I just want fun players. Interesting choice here. I might, if Cam Scatabo goes, I'll probably take Mims and then take one of Ramondre or Tootin. Yeah, I was afraid of that. I think Mims is at least enough of a spike week guy for me to justify taking him there. I know Steve has him ranked pretty low, but I'll take Mims here. And don't love it. Don't love Mims as my receiver 4. That starts feeling pretty thin there. But again, this is such a bad range if you're trying to take receivers. I think Ramondre might be a thorn in the side of Travion a lot of the year. There goes Ramondre. So Winky Christ agrees. Let's see if we queue up Tootin. If he disappears also, I'll probably just take Tyler Warren as a kind of like best player available. Good golly, Miss Molly. All right, so that happened. I think in my head I have Njoku ranked above Warren, but yeah, I do like Tucker Kraft, but I'll just take a Tyler Warren share here. That was regrettable. That was pretty regrettable. That whole turn went as badly as it could have for me there. So I don't know. Team might be getting away from me a little bit here. We got Fields and Purdy, running backs of Bijan, Hampton, and Caleb, wide receivers of Tyreek, Garrett Wilson, Ricky Pearsall, Marvin Mims, and a tight end room of Kittle and Warren there. Again, I don't love the Warren pick, but I didn't see a lot of great options without reaching in the kind of caliber of player that's going to be there at 143, 146. So again, hopefully, catch up on value at receiver and running back. Maybe taking Warren there will enable us to make this a 2-7-7-2 build. I don't love 2-7-7-2. I don't think the numbers bear that out as a great structure for advance rate. It feels very fragile. It'll obviously depend on the kind of third tight end we can get here. Adding a Mason Taylor in that range, I think might make sense for this being a Fields team. So Taylor might be a target with this 167, 170 pick. But again, if we shut it down at 2 tight ends with Kittle and Warren, I think that's a perfectly defensible position as well. All right. Let's see what comes around to us. Again, none of our friends and family made it into this room, and you can tell because nobody has been very nice to us. At least they did not. Everything went well until the 10th round, and then it was like everybody that we wanted to draft kind of went in a line. And maybe if I had taken Ramondre, I would have gotten Mims on the wraparound, but I'm pretty out on Christian Kirk. I did feel like Mims was a guy I wanted to target in, Now, unfortunately, the running backs I get are much more contingency than either uncertain or split backfields like Ramondre and Tootin are. So thinking ahead, what is coming around to us? Hollywood Brown would be nice. I would add him if he came around. If David Njoku falls all the way to us, could consider taking him, but no, he doesn't. That would have been pretty aggressive there. I don't think I need Tua as a third quarterback. Let's see what comes up. Rashad White might make sense. Again, if we want to make him a contingent upside play. We've got Tyreek Hill, so he would be a little bit of a week 17 kind of bring back. There goes Hollywood Brown. Liette and Palmer, I think, are kind of in a range of player I don't mind. It's a nice value on Ray Davis here. I might just take Ray Davis ahead of Rashad White here. I think that's fine. And then I'll take one of these. I'll take one of these receivers, Isaac. I don't know who you want me to take here. I do not know who you want me to take here. I am sorry. I think I'm going to take Josh Palmer because I did just take Ray Davis, so I can at least get some pieces of Buffalo. And I think Palmer's going to be involved in the Bills offense. Again, these picks are kind of gross. Yes, 22 likes got you there. Awesome, Who Hames. Thank you. Well, again, I appreciate it. I did not want to hold the stream hostage, but I am glad to see that we did get there. I would love to get another sub or two today. So if you have not subscribed, please do so. Oh, Garendo. Winky Christ takes everything we love here and leaves me with nothing. But it is the Winky Cross I bear when I draft with some of these people. But let's see. Again, a question of, do we shut this down at 2 tight ends, and if so, do we end at 5 running backs or 6 receivers? I think this team needs to be a 2-7-7-2. It's looking grim here at my other positions, and I think I gotta just hope that Kittle and Warren are the truth. I think I gotta draft like that. So we're gonna try to stack the other positions. Again, this is not my favorite roster construction, but we'll see what we get. Maybe if we're truly happy with the next few picks, we'll look at a late tight end. But as of now, that's kind of where I am leaning. Let's pull the board back up. See if anything too interesting is happening. A little early for Strange, but it makes sense going to the T-Law drafter. Tua still on the board with Purdy and Ricky. I see the vision that would have definitely made sense taking Garendo there. I guess I got kind of tunnel visioned into Ray Davis. I also don't take a lot of Garendo. I'm not a huge Garendo bull. Maybe it's because I was such a big Jordan James bull in pre-draft stuff that I'm telling myself that it's more up in the air than maybe it is. I don't know. I probably should be adding in more Garendo than he's somebody that I've kind of been holding off on a little bit until camp moves a little further. And if that ends up being more of a battle, then, or, if Garendo wins the job, clearly he's probably not going to rise too much. And so I don't know. I could see him though dropping a bit if it sounds like James is getting there. But Winky Christ, my God, he took so many running backs here. He took 6 running backs in 7 picks. My goodness. All right, let's see what's coming back to us. Pat Bryant is who we will take if he comes to us. I really like Jalen Wright and Rico Dowdle. So if we can get Bryant and then Wright or Dowdle, I will be happy. I hope Winky Christ stops taking running backs, but you never know. I think that would be pretty nice. I think Jalen Wright would make sense with Tyreek Hill. I think Pat Bryant, we already have one Denver receiver, so we'll add to a little bet on the Broncos. Don't see a need to take Hunter, Ertz, or Gesicki. I think this team needs to continue to try to catch up at these position players more than it needs another back, or excuse me, more than it needs another tight end. Steve has Dowdle ranked significantly ahead of Wright. That is interesting to see. I'm almost agree with that, actually. I think Dowdle pretty clearly might have some standalone value. I might feel differently if I had Tua on this team, but again, if I want to talk about guys with standalone plus contingent value, I think that is Ray Davis and it's Rico Dowdle more so than Wright. Maybe Wright does get some standalone value along with A-Chain, but I think I don't know. I think Dowdle might work in more than we want, especially as someone who has a lot of Chuba, and he showed that he was competent last year. I don't think he goes to 0, so don't mind adding him to a room where our running backs are a little bit in flux here. My bad, didn't realize you had Kittle. Good team. Thank you. Yeah, well, I have no problem adding a 4th San Francisco piece, but yeah, we've got the San Francisco double stack, which I do like quite a bit here. Who Ames has a hard time with Wright. Carolina's a better O-line. Who Ames? I drafted 0 Wright pre-draft. I said the Dolphins are definitely going to take somebody, and then they did, but they waited and they took Ollie Gordon, and then Ollie Gordon looks like he's in the shadow realm. The problem with Wright is if there is a goal line back and it's not Ollie Gordon, because Ollie Gordon might just stink, it could be Alexander Madison. Like, it legitimately could be Madison, and then Wright is just kind of the backup, like change of pacey kind of guy. Like I don't know if it's clearly Wright as the 2 in Miami. So I have trouble with Wright as well. And I'm also a Dolphins fan, and I thought Wright was awful last year. Every time I watch Wright, I said, this guy sucks. And, McDaniel was at the combine watching the running back. So I'm like, I don't think every coach goes to every single combine, but he was there like watching the backs, which made me think like he's not happy with the room. They definitely want to add somebody. When they added Gordon, I said, this is definitely the goal line back, but he just might be bad. Like, I don't know. So I don't know. I'm with you on the right concern. I take some of him, but I did the same thing with Pacheco. Oh, as in like taking none pre-draft, because I thought they were going to add somebody too, and then they added one of my favorite players in Brashard Smith, but Brashard Smith is not like that kind of back where I'm afraid he's going to end up with the lion's share of the team. I love him on DK. If it's PPR and he's like McKinnon-y, like wheels up on Brashard Smith. All right, let's see what has come to us. Slayton goes DJ Giddens. I like. Let's see what Steve has them ranked. He has Keenan Allen. You know what? I'm going to take Keenan Allen. I'm going to take the mystery box. This team needs some help. This team needs some help at wide receiver, and I don't know where Keenan Allen's going to go. Nobody knows where Keenan Allen's going to go, but hopefully he goes somewhere good, because I feel like, again, we're a little bit behind, and I don't know. Oh my God, I'm up again. I miscounted. I completely miscounted. I thought that was my pick before my last, so I was like not ready. All right, so we have 2-6-7-2. I'm glad I had DJ Giddens queued up. That was tough. Sorry, that's what happens. Been streaming for 2.5 hours. We're getting a little loopy here. All right, so we got one more pick. Well, I guess we'll see if there's a really good tight end. We'll add a tight end. If not, we will. We'll probably add one more running back to the room. Although I feel a little bit better about how this ended up. All right. Ollie is a weird Miami pick because he's the opposite of what they usually look for in their RBs. So either team philosophy changing or depth piece. Yeah, and unfortunately, it's starting to look more like a depth piece. Haven't heard anything from camp, and the most bearish thing that happened was when he talked about like getting his jersey, which was 31, and he said like, "Oh, this wasn't my choice, but it reminds me that 31 teams passed on me." It's like, you didn't even get to pick your own jersey? Like, this is really bearish. Like, this feels like a guy who might not make the team. Like, this poor guy can't even like pick his own jersey. I don't know, man. I don't know why that struck me as like such a negative, but it just seemed not good. Like, the vibe is off. The vibe is off with Ollie Gordon. I hope that's not the case, because I have tons of him in pre-draft stuff. Quietly, I've been thinking Allen to San Francisco, Ricky's hammy, IU comes along slowly. Maybe. I feel like that'd be real bad for a lot of the other guys, so I kind of hope that doesn't happen. My headcanon is he should go to Cincinnati, because they are in dire need of like a slot receiver more than Yoshi Voss, and I think he would just fit there perfectly. I could just see him sitting underneath and gaining 8 yards a clip for Burrow, and just having one of those like 9 receptions for 77 yards and a touchdown. That will just be a giga smash and pick 180. But I don't think he wants to play in a cold weather city. So that's probably not the true world we live in. I'll queue up Juwan Johnson. I would take him here to end this team. Beyond that, I think these tight ends are pretty close to zeros, and I do have 2 tight ends I'm happy about. If he goes, then I will make this 2-7-7-2. A few running backs I like. Maybe I take Keaton Mitchell over Brashard Smith. I think if something happens to Henry, it would be Mitchell there. If all of those go, then I'll fire up Taj Brooks. But let's see what Chuddy does. If Chuddy decides he needs, no, he takes Naylor. All right, I'm going to end with Juwan Johnson, because I think he's as good as like the receivers in this range, and The other plays are really pure contingent upside where I think Johnson could help this team. So this team will end up a 2-6-7-3 with Justin Fields, Brock Purdy, Bijan Robinson, Omarion Hampton, Caleb Johnson, Ray Davis, Rico Dowdle, and DJ Giddens. So a decent amount of contingent upside at the end with, Bijan anchoring the team and a couple hopefully high upside rookies. Interesting RB room here. Wide receiver room, Tyreek Hill, Garrett Wilson, and then it gets wonky. Ricky Pearsall, Marvin Mims, Josh Palmer, Pat Bryant, Keenan Allen. So again, beyond Hill and Wilson, pretty sketchy wide receiver room, but I do like Pearsall, and then strong tight end room of Kittle, Warren, and Johnson. So again, not the most comfy team I've ever built, but I feel like it at least tells a little bit of a story. All right, let's see. At Crossface, I made a case for this the other day. So going for the Allen to San Francisco drumbeat begins here. With the D-Rob suspension, I pump stuff warm to think they are a contender. All right, you're smarter than me, Who. Maybe I'm catching up to you. Who Hames is also smarter than me, so I appreciate when my takes line up with him. You know what? Fine. Keenan Allen to San Francisco. I agree. If Who Hames, Crossface, and FK Coolers are in, who am I to stand in the way? I would love Keenan Allen. I just want him to go somewhere. I just don't want him to become a food critic in Chicago, which feels like the other out. Ollie is a humble, hardworking guy. Nobody wants to see Alexander twerking in the end zone again. I agree. I want Ollie Gordon to be a thing. If we hear he is making the team and we hear he has any chance of the goal line back, I will take Ollie Gordon hand over fist. But right now, until I hear that, I am holding my, keeping my powder dry on that. But everybody, thank you so much for coming by. I really appreciate it. This was a fun stream. We got some real fun drafts in. I apologize. I'm not trying to rug people. I would have loved to do more with you all. Crossface likes the Madison twerk. I think you might be in the minority there. None of us like to see Madison there, especially those of us who took tons of Zamir White and got absolutely slaughtered last season. That was highly regrettable. Who Hames took Debo before ADP first time all season. I have warmed to Debo. I've warmed up to Debo a lot, and I find myself taking him at ADP. I'm not trying to go crazy, but this BBM 30 is going kind of rough. I'm sorry, Dirty P. I thought with your Madison start, you were gonna get there with a draft. You like AB the best work. Well. He is out there, all AB. But anyway, everybody, thank you again for coming by. Appreciate you all hanging out today. As always, please like and subscribe. We are on the road to 200. It is a long slog, but we are going to get there, and I will get there with all of your help. So again, thank you so much, James. No, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, you had draft lobby fatigue. That draft it went stale. It was waiting too long. So the draft it passed its sell by date. All right, everyone. I'll see y'all soon. Thanks again, FK Coolers. Thank you so much for coming by today. All right, see y'all.